Zoom performance of Persecution, the trial of Colin Stagg, a drama in 5 parts performed over 3 dates by the Outcasts Creative theatre company. This performance will stream via YouTube and Facebook and is subject to technical difficulties. In the event the broadcast has technical difficulties, we will attempt to resume it as soon as possible. The cast includes 2 actors who will cover any of our cast who may lose their connection. Narrators will not put on their cameras during the reading. You will only see those actors on camera who are playing characters who are appearing in scenes at that point in the narrative. Persecution, previously called Pressure in earlier drafts, is based on a 5-part television drama series, first written in 2008, and has been adapted for Zoom performance. It tells the true story of Colin Stagg, the man who, quite wrongly, became the prime and subsequently the only suspect in the first police investigation into the murder of Rachel Nickell, a 23-year-old woman who was stabbed 49 times in a vicious attack on Wimbledon Common in the summer of 1992. The life of her 2-year-old son, Alex, who witnessed his mother's murder, was spared. Colin Stagg's ordeal ran over nearly 2 decades, and many characters came and went as part of that story, and several different events took place which could not be included, even in a narrative with multiple episodes. As with all factual-based dramas of this type, inevitably there is a compression and amalgamation of scenes required to make the story work and for dramatic impact. Several characters in the screenplay are composites, representing 2 or more individuals, and some characters, including some officers on the murder inquiry team, are entirely fictional. Please be aware this performance contains descriptions of violence, bad language, and scenes of a sexual nature that would not be suitable for children. Parental discretion is strongly advised. At the end of this episode, there will be a Q&A with the cast and creative team. For this afternoon's performance, the part of Robert Napper will be played by Lance Nielsen.
Persecution, the trial of Colin Stagg, Part 5, the conclusion. The following dramatisation is based on true events that took place in southwest and southeast London between the years 1992 and 2009. For clarity, some composite characters have been used and the chronology of certain events has been amalgamated for simplicity, and some scenes and dialogue created for dramatic purposes. We cut to the Old Bailey in London. It's the 9th of October 1995, and Robert Napper is standing in dock number 1.
Robert Clive Napper, you have pled guilty on the grounds of diminished responsibility to the murder of Samantha and Jasmine Bissett, and furthermore, 2 rapes and 2 attempted rapes of 4 other individuals. These were especially brutal crimes, and it is my opinion that had you not been apprehended, you would have gone on to commit many more. You are, in anyone's view, a very dangerous man, and will be committed to Broadmoor Asylum for the criminally insane, from where you should never be released. Take him down.
As Napper is led away, detectives Banks and Pearce watch his departure. They talk as they leave the courtroom.
You know, I'm surprised that he never he changed his plea to guilty.
I'm not surprised, John. It was the only plea that he could have made. I mean, there's nothing sane about the man, is there?
No, nothing at all. But, that new DNA evidence linked him to 3 of the Green Chain attacks. And it just does make you wonder just how many more people's lives that he's ruined that we don't even know about. What do you reckon, Gov? Do you reckon that he'll ever cough up or confess to any other offences?
Napper himself? I doubt it, John. It's just not in his nature, is it? It's the only control that he has left. Keeping that information inside. If he loses it, well, that's it. Trust me, I know the type. He ain't going to talk. Right then. I think you and I have earned ourselves a well-deserved pint, don't you?
Yeah, too right we have. And it is your end.
Upstairs in a pub function room in London, in South London, everyone from the Rachel Nickell murder squad investigation team have their glasses at the ready. All the old faces are there. DS, Holland and Williams, DC's Long, Lyle, Miller, Davis and Crouch. And even the retired Bassett has come. Around 40 officers in all. On the wall is a large banner that reads, "Happy retirement, Keith Pedder." Stollard, now promoted to detective, rushes into the room, closing the door behind her.
Quiet, you lot. Mick's bringing him up the stairs now. Shh.
Wickerson leads Pedder in, both with pints in their hands.
Surprise!
Surprise!
Oh, he's a jolly good
Jolly
fella.
fella, he's a jolly good fella. He's a jolly good fella.
Don't say all of us.
Don't say all of us.
You bastard, Mick!
Sorry, Keith. God, you know what this felt like. Look, as you can see, they've had a few already. There was no stopping them.
As I said, I only wanted a quiet drink, but cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Sorry, boss. We had to do something. We couldn't leave without you having a party.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been right, sir.
Exactly. I mean, that would have been a breach of health and safety vis-a-vis your retirement, Gov. I'm getting the next one in. What do you want?
Oh, well, in that case, make it a scotch, please, Martin.
Davis arrives with a cake shaped like a policeman's helmet.
Hey, for crying out loud, it's not my birthday, you know.
Are you turning down the chance to try some of my cake, Gov?
Whoa, God forbid, no, it looks lovely.
Yeah.
Pedder takes a bite of the cake and everyone cheers.
Cheers.
Themselves more drinks and adding cards and presents to the pile. Bassett emerges from the crowd.
As long as you bastards didn't get me a stripogram.
Well, fortunately, I managed to talk them out of that one. Congratulations, Keith. Good luck with your retirement.
Oh, hello, sir. This is a surprise.
Well, you can drop the sir. We're both on Civvy Street now.
Yeah, I suppose we are. Well, thank you for coming, Bertie.
So what will you do now?
I don't know, sir. I'm not sure. Security consulting, probably. What else is there? I was thinking I might write a book about the case.
Oh, are you now? Well, you know the brass won't take too kindly to that.
Yeah, I'm sure they won't. It's not right, Bertie. 20 years I gave them, and then after everything, they just sidelined me to a desk.
Well, I heard that it was your decision to go. Depression and exhaustion, wasn't it?
Yeah, let's just say I jumped before I was pushed. I wanted more of my career than retiring at 39 with a bloody carriage clock to my name.
Well, is that what this lot got you?
I don't know, but that very odd-looking parcel over there looks like one.
Well, it's good to see your detective skills haven't lost their touch. Just be grateful they didn't give you a bloody barometer.
Across the room, we join other officers from the team in mid-conversation.
Yeah, I heard that Lizzie James is thinking of suing the Met. Compensation for mental duress or something like that. And her rep reckons she's actually in for quite a bit of money.
Oh, yeah? How much?
Over 100 grand.
100 grand. Jesus Christ, talk about a nice little retirement package. Well, I'm one of those myself, come to think of it.
That'd be a nice little villa in Portugal.
It's all a right load of bollocks. We worked long and hard on that case, harder than her. I don't see us getting a juicy payout for the privilege.
Oh, it never looked like she was having any trouble with the op to me. In fact, I was sure she thrived on the buzz of it.
We rejoin Pedder and Bassett as Wickerson sits down.
Retired at 39, eh? So what happened with working for SO11 then, Keith?
Wasn't going anywhere, Mick. I felt like a filing clerk. I was passed over for promotion 3 times and the stress wasn't doing me any good either. I've not been sleeping too well.
I can relate to that.
You too?
Well, I mean, not so much now, but when we were doing the Nickell case, I was lucky if I got more than 3 hours a night. Always thinking of, what have we missed? I couldn't switch off, ever.
Yeah, oh yeah, I get that.
Well, I've made my peace with it now and I sleep like a baby. You should do the same.
Yeah, but we know it's harder for you, Keith, because you're on it every day and you had to see Stagg go free on your watch. But trust me, all right? You have to learn to let these things go, all right?
Yes. And perhaps writing that book isn't the best way to do that.
Actually, I was thinking it could be quite cathartic for me.
You think we always had the right man, Keith?
Oh, Paul Britton seemed to think so, didn't he?
Yeah. But do you think he was right?
Sure as we ever can be in this job. I mean, we all thought so at the time, didn't we? Yeah. I still think Stagg got away with it. I let them down, Gav. Andre, Alex, Rachel's parents, all of them.
Look, we all did the best we could. We don't commit the crimes. We just have to clean up the mess. Don't spend your whole life waiting for thanks from people, because most of the time, believe me, you'll never get it. Right then, well, I'd best be off. I'm in bed before 9 these days. Good luck, Keith. Mick, cheers.
Sorry, old habits. Yeah. Are you still seeing it then?
That's been over for a while now.
Oh yeah, probably for the best.
DC Long arrives with Pedder's drink.
Here you go, boss.
Thanks, Martin. You can just call me Keith from now on, eh?
We cut to Colin Stagg's bedroom, where he wakes to the sound of Diane snoring loudly in the bed next to him. He rubs his face, swings out of the bed and puts his shirt on. Grabbing the dog lead off the back of the door, he tiptoes down the stairs and enters the lounge. He enters the lounge to find Brandy curled up on the sofa.
Go on then, old girl. We'll go for a quick walk, shall we?
Unusually, Brandy doesn't move. Colin notices his dog is motionless. He rushes over to her, kneeling down with his hand hovering above her head, reluctant to touch it. He knows she's dead. He strokes her, recoiling from the coldness of her body, which confirms she's died.
I'm sorry, girl. I'm so sorry.
Crying, Stagg cradles the body of his dog. We cut to Colin Stagg's garden, with Diane and Colin's brother Lee watching from the door. Colin buries Brandy in the garden.
We should get him another one.
Last thing we need is another bloody dog. Besides, it's just a drain on our money.
Yeah, well, some dogs are expensive to keep. Others worth their weight in gold. Know what I mean, Diane?
We cut to Broadmoor High Security Hospital, where two detectives, DS Holland and DSI Watkins, the new CO for the Nickell inquiry, exit their car and head inside the old Victorian-looking red brick building. We cut to the interview lounge there, where Robert Napper is brought in by two orderlies, his hands in cuffs. His eyes linger on Holland as she sits down. His expression is cold, as if he's dead behind the eyes.
Hello, Mr. Napper. Do you know why we've come here to see you today?
No.
We think you might be able to help us clear some other cases, and that could bring closure to a lot of people, help them begin to heal.
Why should I give a toss about that?
Look, we know you were assaulted when you were 13, Robert. A family friend on a camping trip, wasn't it? It must have been very difficult for you at that age. It's hard, isn't it, to deal with that kind of pain?
Perhaps your actions, your fits of rage, the crimes you committed were an outlet for all that pain. So why continue to keep all of that in? We're here now, so why not unburden the load?
Watkins places a photograph of Rachel Nickell on the table.
Do you remember this woman, Robert?
No.
Do you remember walking on Wimbledon Common, July 1992, and seeing her with a young boy, who's barely 3 years old?
No. I've never been there. Didn't have nothing to do with no Rachel Nickell murder.
So you do know her name then?
Well, yeah, it was in all the papers and on the television, weren't it?
Is that why you did it, Robert? Did you kill Rachel because you wanted to get caught so that you'd stop? But you didn't get caught, so you went and killed the Bissetts instead.
No comment.
Or was it that you just wanted to make a name for yourself?
Well, I already have. Didn't you hear? I'm the Green Chain Rapist.
Did you kill Rachel Nickell, Robert? Did you stab her 49 times on the morning of July the 15th, 1992?
No.
Look, Robert, we all know you're probably never going to get out of here. But maybe we can do something for you, huh? If you help us? Look, perhaps we can get you some books you want, or get you a room with a nicer view.
Doesn't matter what room you put me in, detective. It's always cold inside. It's always cold outside. The room out of the view is always the same. It's always dark. I think I'd like to go back to my room now, please.
We cut to the car park in Broadmoor High Security Hospital, where DSI Watkins and Holland walk back to the car.
Jesus, what a psychopath. I don't think we're ever going to get anything more out of him. Stagg still looks like our most viable suspect to me. I heard after the appearance of Nickell's boyfriend on Richard and Judy, the press are going to go proper on town on him. Maybe he'll slip up.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to help, Gov. You know, Robert Napper was among the 36 names we were given the night of the Crime Watch programme. I'm absolutely sure he knows more than he's saying, Gov.
Well, I thought he was ruled out as a suspect by your old boss. I should have listened to my wife when I was offered this case takeover.
Why, what did she say?
That it would be a poison chalice.
And was she right?
No, not entirely. I've yet to see any sign of a chalice.
We cut to the Battersea Dogs Home in South London, where Lee, Stagg and Diane bring a black Labrador out of the dog's home on a lead.
Colin's going to be made up when he sees her. Come on.
We cut back to the Alton Estate in Roehampton, where Lee and Diane arrive back to see the front of it under siege by the press. Colin is standing on the balcony shouting at them as he sets a copy of the Daily Mail on fire.
Mr. Stagg, Mr. Stagg,
This
do you
is
have
a
any
pack of
comment?
lies. They're fitting me up again.
Colin runs back inside and shuts the door.
Come on, let's go in round the back.
As Lee and Diane turn into the next street, and they walk past Lily and Avid, reading the Daily Mail, the headline, "The Case Against Colin Stagg, a Jury Never Heard." We cut to the rear garden of Stagg's flat, where Diane and Lee enter just as Colin comes into the garden for a smoke. The dog leaps up towards him, barking.
Hey, Colin, we got your present. What are you going to call her?
I feel like a bit of an outcast. Gypsy feels appropriate. Hello there.
So what was in the paper?
Oh, just 3 pages of evidence from the case. None of it in my favour, of course. They conveniently left all that out, didn't they?
Oh, Christ, I need a drink.
Diane goes inside. The sun goes down on the estate. And we cut to Colin Stagg's flat again, but it's a different day. Diane is on the phone working a sex chat line, wearing a faded t-shirt, stained jogging bottoms, a lit fag in hand and a glass of whiskey nearby. There's a knock at the door. Colin opens it to see his brother.
Oh, yeah. Are you big and hard? I bet you are. What do you look like? What do I look like? Oh, I'm slim, with a body like Aphrodite. She was the goddess of love. Anyway, I'm slim with curves in all the right places.
Colin quietly walks Lee past Diane and into the garden.
We cut to Colin Stagg's garden, Alton Estate. Gypsy is playfully dashing around with her new ball.
Oh, Gypsy's settling in well, I see.
Yeah.
So what's all that on the phone about? Curves in all the right places? There's only one curve on her, bruv, and it goes all the way round. Sorry.
She's working one of them sex chat line things, you know. She's been doing it for a while. Boats call up some special number and they get put through to her ear. She doesn't have to leave the house. It's a bit of extra money. She loves it.
I bet. The calls probably get routed via Bangladesh or something. I bet the phone bill takes a bit of explaining to the wives and girlfriends.
Yeah, well, still, the extra money, it comes in handy. So you can guess where most of it goes, of course.
Right. I saw that story in the Mail as well. I mean, Christ, that paper's just not leaving it alone.
Of course they won't. They can't afford not to now, can they? It's always worse around the anniversary anyway. Diane nearly turned the gardeners on them the other day.
Can't you get your lawyer to sue them or something?
I asked, but they said there's nothing we could do.
And that girl's fella, Andre, he sounds like he really hates your guts, mate.
I can't blame him, really. I expect I'd be the same. I'm sure the police are telling him I'm still their man.
But you got to do something, bruv. I mean, you can't just let these people keep saying that you did it when we know you're innocent.
Well, my lawyer had a suggestion the other day.
We cut to a television studio in Birmingham. Colin sits in a chair wired up to a lie detector machine, already answering questions from the technician. Other people are watching through a window.
Is your name Colin Francis Stagg?
Yes.
Do you live on the Alton estate in Roehampton?
Yes.
Did you ever meet Rachel Nickell?
No.
Were you on Wimbledon Common on the day of the murder?
Yes.
Were you on Wimbledon Common at the time of the murder?
No, at least I don't think so.
Just answer yes or no, please.
No, as far as I know.
Did you murder Rachel Nickell?
No.
Did you assault Rachel Nickell?
No.
Did you ever carry a knife with you on Wimbledon Common?
No, never.
We cut to Lee Ashley's lounge in South London. It's evening. Colin, Diane and Lee Ashley are watching the Cook Report on TV, showing Colin taking the lie detector test.
So you took the lie detector test, Colin, and passed, but you won't take the truth drug.
Well, I don't want to put that sort of thing in my body. I'm worried about the side effects.
And yet, all these questions about the case still remain unanswered.
Well, I answered them as best I could. I did my best.
So it's up to the viewers to decide who to believe.
Fair enough.
The programme finishes. Diane chugs down her vodka.
I think you came across very well in that programme, Colin. Surely now, with you passing the lie detector test, people will begin to have doubts.
I'm not sure anything will ever be enough for some people, Lee.
Diane pours out the last of her vodka. Observing that the bottle is empty, she gets up and puts on her coat.
Right, well, we should be going.
I haven't finished my drink yet.
Diane grabs Colin's drink, downing it in one.
Now you have. Lee, can we borrow some money? We need some extra cash.
Diane?
Oh, right, well, I'm not so sure. Aren't you still doing that phone sex line thing?
No, I had to quit that. The people at work found out who I was.
Oh, no. How on earth did that happen?
At the party at our place for all the girls on the line, and when they found out who we were, one of them did a little number with the News of the World, so they made her quit.
Yeah, bitches. Just goes to show you can't trust anyone.
Inviting them to your home probably wasn't very sensible, Diane.
Anyway, look, we don't worry, Lee. We don't need anything. We're all right.
Actually, Lee, if you can lend us some dosh, that would be good.
Well, how much do you need?
Lee, we really don't need anything.
£1,000.
Oh, right. Well, I certainly don't have that much. I can have a look. Well, I might have some. Maybe about 400.
Yeah, that will do, I suppose.
We cut to the street on Alton Estate, night. Colin and Diane are walking back home.
We can't keep borrowing money on offer like that, especially when I have no idea when I'm going to be able to pay it back.
I'm keeping a record of it all, don't worry.
Not the point now, is it? You know, you're taking the piss, and we wouldn't need so much money if you didn't keep spending it all on drink.
I need that to get through being your other half, don't I?
You know what you were getting into when we got married. You wanted to go ahead with it. I was the one that wanted to wait.
You can go back to being on your own if you want. I could do way much better than you anyway. That millionaire from the chat line, he offered to take me away to the south of France.
Yeah, somehow I think the chance of a real millionaire calling a sex chat line for bored housewives is fairly unlikely, don't you?
We need money, Colin. You should talk to those filmmakers about doing that programme.
I don't want to do any more programmes, Diane. I just want to live a normal life. You're a qualified care worker. Why can't you go out and get a part-time job?
I worked in that profession for 7 years. I told you never again. Besides, no one's going to employ Mrs. Stagg, are they? I want to have a baby.
What? We've been through this before. It's a bad idea.
Bad for you, maybe.
Look, we can barely look after ourselves as it is, let alone bringing the kids into all this stuff that's going on. How are we going to look after it, huh? Well, how's it going to get treated at school when I've got all this hanging over my head? Have you thought about any of that?
I don't care. I want one.
As they approach their flat, Diane spots Cheryl Lewis watching her from the other end of the balcony by her door.
What the fuck are you looking at?
Don't talk to Cheryl like that. She's our friend.
Friend? We haven't got any friends round here.
You speaking to everyone like that all the time?
Diane opens the door to the flat and goes inside.
You all right, Colin?
Don't ask. I'm sorry about all that.
We cut to the training room at Arnold Lodge, Leicester. It's daytime. Paul Britton is lecturing to a small group of students when Douglas Jones' legal assistant, Kirsty, enters the room.
It was evident once again that my profile had been correct all along, And the boys in the Boulder case were from the backgrounds that I had predicted, and no adults had been involved in that murder. Yes, my dear, if you're my 4:15 appointment, I'm afraid you're a little early.
I'm not. Mr. Paul Britton?
Oh, please get it right, it's Dr. Britton. Can I help you?
This is for you.
What's this?
I'm serving you with a professional misconduct suit regarding your role in the Colin Stagg case. Perhaps you can talk about how you were correct all along in that case with your students. Goodbye.
The assistant walks out, leaving Britton stunned and speechless. We cut to the steps of the Wimbledon police station. It is July 1997. The Deputy Assistant Commissioner is making a statement to a large crowd of press outside the station.
Therefore, I have to announce, as of today, we are scaling down the murder inquiry into the death of Rachel Nickell. We have, in the last 5 years, interviewed over 500 individuals regarding this case and ruled out 32 suspects.
Commissioner, can you tell us if Colin Stagg is still a suspect in the case?
I can't comment about any individuals in an ongoing investigation.
Mr. Commissioner, can you say if you have any new suspects that you're actively looking at?
We are not looking at anyone new at this time, no.
Commissioner, it's reported that the case has cost the taxpayer £3 million so far. Can you comment on that?
I do not know the exact cost, but a figure in that region would certainly not be unrealistic. We will, of course, continue to look at any new evidence should any come to light. And I'm still hopeful that one day this case will reach a positive conclusion, not just for the sake of the Metropolitan Police, but also for the sake of Rachel Nickell, her son Alex, his father Andre, and of course, for Ms. Nickell's parents.
We cut to the office of Alex Douglas Jones. It is 1998 and Colin is sitting opposite Alex with Kirsty taking notes.
So, how was your Christmas, Colin?
You know, watching The Great Escape, Turkey, death threats, insulting cars through letterbox from the usual nutcases, bricks through the window, all the usual things that make it really special for us. You know how it is.
Indeed. I've been looking at a copy of Mr. Britton's rather self-congratulatory biography.
Me too. It all but says that I murdered her in it.
Yes, and anyone reading it would naturally come to the conclusion that you were responsible. But I'm sure he's had his own team of lawyers go over it with a fine-tooth comb, so taking any legal action against him, I suspect it was bound to fail. I will, of course, write them a letter saying we are considering a libel suit, just to keep them on their toes.
Thanks. I think I should write my own bloody book. What about Doctor himself? When does he get his day in the box?
Well, our dear Mr. Britton is not being too cooperative on that one. He keeps delaying the dates for the hearing, as do his friends on the medical council.
It's a deliberate tactic. These people do have a habit of protecting their own.
See, the problem is it's all being done in the proper way. I will keep on at them because I think we can at least reasonably prove that Britton superseded his role as a mere profiler and acted unprofessionally. So I also hear that Diane got arrested recently for drunk and disorderly.
Yeah, but 2 months in Holloway sobered her up a bit, didn't they?
You do know she's got previous for similar offences, don't you, Colin?
I didn't, but I do now, yeah.
I also understand, Colin, you've been contacted by a couple of filmmakers about doing some sort of documentary. Mr. Golding and Mr. Berry D.
Nothing gets past you, does it? Yeah. No, they want to do some sort of reconstruction film. They reckon Anglo TV is interested or something. They offered us £1,000 just to agree. And, you know, with Diane wanting a baby, and the money would really come in handy. She wants me to also think about selling the Lizzie James papers to the press.
Well, she's not the only one. This filmmaker character, Barry Golding, and his so-called crime writer friend, Christopher Barry D. We understand you lent them the Lizzie James letters.
Yeah, just to read over for the film project.
Only we've been hearing some rather bad things about them, Colin.
Really? Such as?
Well, they've been hawking the letters round Fleet Street, trying to sell them to the highest bidder.
Joking.
I wish we were, Colin.
We've been told he's been asking upwards of £30,000 for them.
30,000?
I know. Look, I know publishing those letters in their entirety would work in your favour. But you know that's just not how the newspapers work. They can give their readers the edited highlights and will make you look unsympathetic, to say the least.
Christ, that cheeky bastard even offered to take me on holiday to Thailand. Said this film would, make me look innocent once and for all. Bastard.
Well, in my experience, Colin, people who work in the media rarely care about anything but serving their own interest.
That is exactly what I keep trying to tell Diane, but she won't listen. It's like everyone's bloody making money out of my misery.
Okay, look, just leave this with us, Colin, okay? Let me see if I can get those letters back for you. We've also heard some news on your old friend Lizzie James. She started a claim for compensation against the Met.
Oh, Jesus, you guys are full of good news today, aren't you? What kind of claim?
For psychiatric injury sustained from her time in the undercover operation.
What? What about my mental distress?
I know, it's a bit of a cheek if you ask me. I suspect she will cite Britain's involvement as the issue.
I should be suing her. That's ridiculous. She was only doing her job. It's not like she refused, is it?
I agree. But the claim is backed by the Police Federation. I think it's likely they'll settle out of court.
Well, I'll testify against her if they don't.
That would certainly be an interesting proposition, Colin, but I doubt the Met's going to let it get that far.
We cut to Colin Stagg's lounge, Alton Estate. Diane pours herself a large drink and comes in from the kitchen. She looks hungover. Colin is reading the paper, on the front of which there is the headline, Nickell murder detective arrested for offering a bribe, accompanied by a picture of a miserable-looking Keith Pedder.
Shit. It's like our luck's changing. Says here our retired friend Pedder has been done for trying to bribe an undercover police officer for confidential information. God, I never had him down as bent. So, did you enjoy yourself last night?
What?
Last night? Now, you said you wanted me all night. I thought 4 hours was pretty good going myself.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Diane takes a swig of her drink and slumps back on the sofa, lighting up a cigarette and putting on the TV.
I thought you were going to quit smoking to give yourself a better chance of getting pregnant.
I tried, didn't I? Didn't bleeding work, did it?
I think you're supposed to give up permanently. We can't keep spending all our money on drinking cigarettes anyway. Like, I've cut down. Why can't you?
Oh, stop telling me what to do, for crying out loud. If we need more money, we can easily go and do an interview with paper and make 10 grand just like that. Then we can afford to go on holiday somewhere nice.
You know how it will end. The more publicity we keep getting, the less chance we have of a quiet life. And that's all I want, Diane, a quiet life. Christ, you know what they're going to say is whatever we say, they're just going to go back to stag bashing on the estate again. I even took that bloody truth drug for the news of the world because you bloody asked me to.
Yeah, and you couldn't even do that right. We should have made a mint out of that interview, not just a few quid.
At least I'm out there looking for stuff, going to job interviews. It's not my fault they won't employ me, is it? You could do the same instead of sitting here all day writing letters to ex-cons in prison.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Colin pulls out a bundle of letters and throws
Well,
them.
you don't. Gary Howe, I did time with him when I was inside, didn't I? He's in there for rape. Did you know that? But yeah, of course you did. Because now you know I'm not a killer. Now you know I'm not like that. I'm not enough for you, am I? You need something more dangerous, not good old Colin.
Stop this, I'm going to pack. I'm leaving.
I'm not going through this again, Diane. If you leave this time, you leave for good and you don't come back.
I won't. I want a divorce and half of everything you own.
You can go whenever you like, but you ain't having anything of mine, Diane.
There's a knock at the front door. Colin opens it to see Cheryl Lewis standing there.
Are you all right, Colin? I thought something dreadful's happened, what with all the screaming.
You tell that bloody cow Lee to piss off and all.
Not Lee, it's Cheryl. Mate, do us a favour, yeah? Can you just, we're going to take the dog out for a walk. Can you just go in there and calm her down a bit? Just keep her company till we get back, yeah?
All right, Colin. No, sure, no problem.
Yeah, and don't let her pinch anything, yeah?
All right.
To the Alton Estate streets, Roehampton. Stagg walks Gypsy round the block to clear his head. He heads down to the A3 bypass and debates going onto the common. He decides not to and turns back.
Let's go home, girl, yeah? Maybe she's gone.
Cut to the street outside Stagg's flat. Stagg returns home to witness a loud argument between Diane and two police officers. Cheryl and Richard Lewis both watch her rant as Colin returns. Lee Ashley also arrives but keeps her distance.
There he is, the man who has been keeping me a prisoner.
This lady claims you've been imprisoning her against her will, Mr. Stagg.
I've done no such thing. Look at the size of her. You think I could stop her from leaving the house even if I wanted to?
He has a point. Have you been drinking again, Mr. Stagg?
None of your business. I want him arrested. He's been hitting me. I've been in fear of my life.
That's rubbish. I've never hit her in my life.
Where did he hit you, Mrs. Stagg?
Well, he didn't actually hit me, but he threatened to.
Oh, why don't you shut your mouth, Diane? Officer, This man has never shouted at anyone on this estate, let alone hit them. Unlike this woman, who has shouted at probably everyone on this estate, including me and my kids, on several occasions.
Oh, piss off, Cheryl!
Mrs. Stagg, if you keep using language like that, I'm going to have to arrest you for breaching the peace.
Look, she said she wanted to leave tonight and she can go whenever she likes, so.
Davis, why don't you take Miss Stagg inside and get her things? We'll take her out.
I don't want to go inside. Why don't you just do your job, you useless lot? Bunch of bleeding wankers!
Oh, gosh. I think we're going to have to ask you to come with us, Mrs. Stagg.
Your hands off me, you bloody rug muncher! I know your type!
Diane wrenches herself free from Davis's grasp and wallops her off her feet. When PC Crouch goes to intervene, she swiftly gives him a kick to the bollocks, and he falls back.
Oh, no! Oh, Jesus!
Charge from Pete Long and Williams, who arrive nearby.
Oh, Jesus Christ, she's off. Cuff her, cuff her!
Take her down, come on.
Let me go! Let me go, you fucking bunch of
Stagg, I'm arresting you for assaulting a police officer!
Get off me! Get off me, you fucking bunch of arseholes!
So you got your hands full there, officer?
Bloody hell.
We have better things to do than to get called out for things like this, Mrs. Stagg. Does she always drink like this?
Yeah, it's been getting worse lately.
Well, still, it can't be easy, can it? Being Mrs. Stagg, I mean.
Well, it's not easy being Mr. Stagg either.
It takes all 5 officers to bundle Diane into the waiting van. PC Crouch gives Stagg a look before he departs. As they drive off, Lee Ashley comes over to Colin.
Good riddance to bad rubbish. Fancy a cup of tea?
Yeah. That's Britain's answer to everything, isn't it?
We cut to the interior of a nice hotel room, central London. Diane is sitting with a reporter from the Sunday Express as she rifles the contents of the minibar from the fridge.
I take it the paper will cover the cost of the minibar.
I should think so. So, you were saying earlier he actually told you that he killed her. Colin said he killed Rachel Nickell.
Yeah, more or less.
And when was this?
Not long after we married.
I see. So why didn't you leave him there and then?
Because I was scared to, wasn't I?
But numerous people who live on the estate told us that you were abusive to them if they ever visited, and that you told them to leave and that you didn't want them around.
I only got like that from all the stress that I went through with living with Colin. He was jealous as well. So he didn't want people coming around, did he?
So jealous that he let you work on a sex chat line.
Yeah. So when do I get my check then?
We cut to Lee Ashley's lounge on the Alton estate. Lee Ashley comes in with a cup of tea for Colin in her hand as he is reading the Sunday Express with the headline, "Stagg told me I killed Rachel," adorning the front page.
Didn't take her long, did it?
Don't know what's worse. Bloody having bloody Norman Tebbit ranting on in the Mail about how they should scrap the double jeopardy law so I can be retried for a murder I didn't commit in the first place. Or my old bag of missus fucking grabbing all the scraps she can from the press money purse. It's all a bunch of malicious eyes, and I've got no redress as usual. There's nothing in here about her attacking the neighbours or those letters that she sent round the estate calling Michelle a drug dealer. Christ, when you've got friends like her, who needs enemies, eh?
Look, Colin, why don't you treat yourself to a holiday, yeah? Get away. Go and visit some of those castles and all those places you keep on talking about.
I suppose I could go for a long weekend. My funds won't stretch too much else.
Here. This should take care of the train, hotel bills, so at least you have somewhere nice to stay when you get there.
Frankly, you lent us too much already.
Yeah, well, maybe, but where did that go? Down Diane's neck, that's why. Look, this is just for you. Don't worry, you can pay me back when you write that book of yours. You might as well, Colin. Everyone else has, haven't they?
Thanks, Lee. You know, before this, we didn't even know each other beyond like a smile and a good morning. But my father used to always say to me, Colin, you'll learn as you get older that the people show their best at the times when things are their worst. And I guess I never really knew what he meant until I met you. You know, you've never said a bad word about me. I don't really know why you have my back, but I am really grateful and I wanted you to know that.
Well, it's easy not to say a bad word about someone when you haven't got anything bad to say about them in the first place. Do you still miss her?
Huh? Diane? No. Well, not really. I mean, it's just I got into the habit of living with someone else, and now I hate living on my own again.
Yeah. Listen, when you forget about yesterday, tomorrow is beautiful, or so they say. So, what are you going to do for the millennium then?
Oh, I don't know. I ain't New Year. The dogs can't stand the fireworks. I'll probably just stay at home.
We cut to Stagg's back garden. It's New Year's Eve night. Colin is standing outside, sipping a beer and smoking a cigarette as he watches distant fireworks burst from the sky and hears the sounds of local parties across the estate. Suddenly, Richard's head pops over the fence.
Hiya, Colin. Hey, you seeing in the new year on your Todd like?
Yeah, Happy New Year, Richard.
You're 15 minutes too early, mate. Hey, listen, me and our Cheryl, we got a few friends round and just wondered if you wanted to come over and see in the new year with us, like, and have a few bevies.
Won't your friends mind?
Ah, don't be silly. Do you honestly think I'll be friends with people like that?
No, I guess not.
Come on, Colin. We're going to go and do some fireworks in the back garden. I love fireworks, don't you?
Yes.
Colin nips round and is welcomed by Cheryl inside to the singing of Auld Lang Syne. Colin looks out of their garden door as he listens to the song.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot for the sake of Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for the sake of Auld Lang Syne.
We cut to Alex Douglas Jones' office, Staines. It's March 2000 and we join Colin and Alex in a meeting.
I'm sorry, Colin. I'm afraid it would seem our Mr. Britton is a slippery character. The longer he can delay getting in front of the board, the weaker our case against him will appear to be.
And the newspapers?
There's nothing I can do about them at the moment. But the good news is Diane won't be getting much out of you either, as we can argue she has already made plenty of money selling her story. I take it you've learned your lesson on women now, yes?
Yeah. You're right about that other girl as well, you know, the one that turned up out the blue. She was an escort.
Yes, I thought as much. Looking to sell her story to the papers, no less.
Yep, just like you said. She tried to get me to chase her through the woods naked. I just left her there and drove off, so that.
Yeah, well, if a woman has 3 different mobiles and will not take calls during the day, she is either a pro or she's a lawyer. Either way, she's not good news, trust me. There is one thing I am looking into you for, though, but it's a long shot.
What's that?
Well, you know, there's a pub down by the river. I've got some time to get a quick one in. I'll tell you there. Come on, grab your coat.
What, a drink? With me? In public? Are you sure?
We cut to the Swan Hotel bar, Staines Riverside. The bar is busy, but Colin's presence goes unnoticed. Alex arrives back with 2 pints and sits down.
So, have you ever heard of something called an ex gratia?
No, what's that?
Translated, it basically means without acknowledgement of blame. It's an award of compensation given out by the Home Office under special circumstances to individuals who have suffered as a result of wrongful conviction or arrest because of serious default by a public authority. In your case, it's the police.
Compensation? Other lawyers have already told me all about this.
I'm sure they have, and making no promises and knowing our friends in higher places, it will take an awful long time to sort out.
I'm used to the wheels turning slowly, if they turn at all.
Well, on that subject, another psychologist turned down doing a report on you again today. That makes 3 altogether.
Well, that's very professional, that is. And these people do this for a living, do they? It's like It's like hiring a football player that won't stand in front of the net during the games. It's maybe we should just pack it all in, Alex.
God, not a chance. Besides, sure around, son. Have the same again, please. Cheers.
We cut to the Metropolitan Police evidence vault. It is the anniversary of Rachel Nickell's death, July 2001. A police officer walks through an evidence room carrying 2 boxes of material, which he puts back onto his shelf. We see the boxes are marked Exhibits, Case 157203, Rachel Nickell murder. In a voiceover, a police officer addresses a press conference.
A review of all the evidence of Rachel Nickell murder case has just taken place. This has been done as part of our review of unsolved cases, but also to state our commitment towards resolving this case, no matter how long it may take. The case was also reviewed along with several other murder cases back in 1998 as part of Operation Enigma to see if any of the cases were connected. Regretfully, we still have no new lines of inquiry to pursue at this time.
We got to a press conference, Nickell Inquiry Team.
Commissioner, does this mean the Nickell case is destined to remain unsolved?
Not at all. The case remains active and we hope that in time there will be a satisfactory outcome.
Commissioner, back in 1994, following the collapse of the trial against your only suspect, Colin Stagg, the Met stated, and I quote, "We are not looking for anyone else." Is this still the case? Is Colin Stagg still your primary suspect?
Colin Stagg was found not guilty in a court of law. Beyond that, I cannot comment on him individually. But we will continue to look at all avenues open to us to secure a conviction against the person who murdered Miss Nickell.
Commissioner, can you tell me, do you think the police placed too much faith in Dr. Paul Britton, the criminal profiler?
Using criminal profilers in these types of cases is routine. And I would like to point out they have a track record of great success in other cases.
We cut to the offices of the British Psychological Society while Paul Britton's disciplinary hearing is being held. It's October 2002.
It was disappointing news for Colin Stagg today when a hearing decided that Dr. Paul Britton, who will not face any disciplinary charges for his role in the Rachel Nickell murder inquiry.
Paul Britton emerges from the impressive grey building with a smug, victorious expression on his face, abruptly followed by Stagg, who barges past him.
You're nothing but a bloody pervert, Britton.
Excuse me?
You heard me. People like him should not be able to accuse innocent people.
Colin rushes off down the street in anger. Alex Douglas-Jones and Kirsty and Lee Ashley exit. Reporters immediately swarm around them.
Mr. Stagg!
Mr. Jones! Mr. Stagg!
Mr. Britton, any comment from the press?
Please, everyone, please. To say that this man who has destroyed my client's life with his unprofessional behavior will not face any charges of misconduct because too much time has passed is a farcical excuse. It only took this long for the hearing to go ahead because of delays caused by Mr. Britton himself and his cronies in the first place.
And who are you, miss?
My name is Mrs. Lee Ashley.
And how do you know Mr. Stagg?
I'm a neighbour of his.
And do you believe Mr. Stagg is innocent of the murder of Rachel Nickell?
Of course he's innocent. Colin isn't capable of such a thing.
But it does seem like he has quite a temper, doesn't it?
Oh, so would you have waited 8 years for this, if you'd had your whole life destroyed by that wretched idiot of a man. Colin Stagg spent 13 months in prison because of him.
Cut over to Britton being questioned by reporters.
Are you relieved not to be facing any charges, Mr. Britton?
Oh, how difficult is it? It's Dr. Britton. Of course I'm relieved, but I'm confident I had to do so. The tribunal would have quickly decided there would have been no case for me to answer.
Mr. Britton, do you still believe that Mr. Stagg is the killer of Rachel Nickell?
Well, he certainly doesn't know how to conduct himself in public, does he? Barging past me like that, all elbows and shoulders. I should make a complaint. We should have been escorted to separate entrances.
Oh, shut up, you pompous man. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're a disgrace to your profession.
Cut to the South London home of Alex Douglas-Jones. Douglas-Jones is sitting in his open-plan kitchen dining area of his South London house. His partner, female 30s, enters reading a copy of the Mail and stops dead in her tracks when she notices something.
You didn't tell me there's been a breakthrough in the Stagg case.
If there is, no one's told me about it.
Well, it's buried here in this article on new low-number copying techniques for DNA. It says here they're using it to test against a particle of matter on the clothes of Rachel Nickell, which is suspected to belong to her killer.
What?
They even imply here that your client wouldn't take a DNA test.
Bloody hell, he won't.
We cut to Douglas Jones' office, Staines. It is November 2003, and Alex Douglas Jones and Kirsty are both in the office with Stagg and Lee Ashley in the middle of a heated conversation.
I don't understand this. I'm sorry, I'm not a lawyer, Mr. Douglas Jones, but surely the police now have to take Colin's DNA so that we can prove he's innocent and they can focus on really capturing the real killer. I mean, I would have thought they'd be beating down your door for it.
Look, Miss Lee, it took me a whole month to even get a response from them, and even then they declined. Sadly, that came from the Commissioner of the Met himself.
The problem is now they know for sure they've got it wrong, and this test will just confirm it. In the eyes of the public, it's better for them if you're still perceived to be guilty.
Look, Colin, so what about your local MP, Tony Coleman? How did it go with him?
Not interested. He won't even take my calls anymore.
Okay, I will write to Lord Harris of Haringey. He's the chairman of the Metropolitan Police Authority, but I would expect him to toe the same line as the Met.
I don't think I need lords in Haringey.
I should imagine he probably lives in the nice part, you know, Highgate Village, I expect. Look, let's let it all cool off for a little bit. Give it until after Christmas, and then I think we might have more luck if we approach someone a bit further down the ladder of the case.
We cut to Wimbledon Police Station waiting room. It's night. It's several weeks later, and Douglas Jones and Stagg wait in a fairly nondescript room. Detective Inspector Harper enters, shaking hands with Douglas Jones. He looks a little red-faced.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, sir.
Oh, well, we've waited long enough to clear my client's name, Inspector. I know 30 minutes for us is not the end of the world. So if we could just take this DNA test and then we can be on our way.
Right, well, you see, the thing is, I've actually been told
You
that...
did say on the phone, Inspector, there would be no problems.
Yeah, yes, I know I did. But the thing is,
They don't
after
want me to take it, do they? Your superiors. You called them up and told them I was coming in to put my DNA on the database, and they told you no, didn't they? Voluntarily as well. We're wasting our bloody time here. They're more concerned about making sure they don't look bad than they are about making sure people know I'm innocent.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Stagg. I really am.
You know, this is just going to make things even worse for you. All of you in the long run. My client is no longer on trial, but the integrity of your police force is. Good night, Inspector.
We cut to a South London street. Colin and Alex are walking silently back to his car. Then abruptly out of nowhere, he completely loses it.
Oh, Rachel, I didn't fucking do it. No one is ever going to believe me, are they? No one. They don't want me to be innocent. I can't keep doing this. What do you want from me? What the fuck do you want from me? This isn't going away. This is never going to go away, is it?
Hey, Colin, look at me. Colin, look at me. I know you didn't do it, okay? I know. Many people might not believe you, but I do, okay? Why do you think I've stayed on your case all this time?
I don't know. Why have you? No one's ever going to believe me, are they? There's always going to be someone, somewhere, always saying there goes that guy that got away with murder. This is never going to end.
Look, Colin, look, maybe not right now, okay? But they will one day. They will, because I'm not going to give up on you. So don't you damn well stand there and give up on me, all right? Look at me when I say this. Don't you give up on me.
Dude, we've tried everything. Won't even take my DNA.
I don't know right now. I need to go back to the office and just think this through. And you need to go home and get yourself together. Have a bath, relax, play your guitar, do whatever works for you, okay? I promise you this. I will not give up on this case until I prove you are innocent. Do you hear me? Colin, look at me and prove to me that you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. All I ever wanted was a fucking girlfriend, all right? Just someone to take care of, buy presents for, to make love to her. I mean, I know I'm not all that, but that's not weird, is it? How is that weird? I don't want to spend your life with someone, to love someone, to want to make them happy.
No, of course it isn't. I would say that's positively normal, Colin.
So I had some sexual fantasies. But they weren't anything weird. Christ, I was never into knives. I was never into tying people up. I've never hit a woman. I sunbathed nude on the common once, one fucking time, and that's not exactly up there with the fucking bizarre sex top 10s, is it?
No.
No, exactly. Tell that to that fucking prick Britain.
You'd be the last person I would want to go for advice on anything, Colin, least of all sex. Look, now come on. Let's get you home before they nick us for the breach of the police. That's the last thing you and I need.
We cut to the police DNA lab in London, where 2 lab technicians are testing low-copy DNA samples from old cases. They meticulously unwrap selective pieces of evidence and cross-reference samples on the computer. One suddenly bolts upright with astonished surprise.
It can't be. I've got a match. I've got a solid match here.
Yeah. Which case is that then?
The Rachel Nickell murder.
What? Where?
On her clothing. The particle of unidentified organic matter. It's been here since 1992.
But all this evidence was reviewed in 2001. Didn't anyone test it then?
Doesn't look like it. But it was definitely here from the beginning. It's on the notes from 92. But there's nothing here about it being tested for DNA before.
There you go then. You just became the person who finally convicted Colin Stagg.
It's not Stagg's. It belongs to someone already on the system. Robert Napper.
Robert Napper? Who the hell is that?
We cut to Wimbledon police station in the incident room. In the busy office that we've come to associate with the Nickell's murder team, which has long since been disbanded, the phone rings and it's answered by a young detective.
Hello, incident room, DI Moss. I'm not sure. Can you give me that name again? Napper. How do you spell that?
In the room, DC Stollard is working on another case.
Sarah, you worked on the Nickell inquiry team, didn't you?
Yeah, long time ago. Why?
We cut to the office in the Wimbledon police station where Stollard, along with Moss and a superintendent, are all sitting in the office studying some reports.
So you're telling me the DNA found on Nickell's underwear is a match to Napper?
It's not just that, sir. The red paint flecks that were found in her son's hair, they've been matched to Robert Napper's toolbox at the time. And there's another thing. A knife was handed into Wimbledon Common in 1993 by a dog walker. I haven't been able to verify where exactly, but it seems it was lost in the system. But we couldn't match it to any of our suspects.
Oh, let me guess, also Napper's.
Yes, sir. He was on the system later on that year, but we couldn't make no comparisons because he wasn't in the frame for our case. So the knife was discounted as being connected to the Nickell murder.
So why wasn't Napper interviewed at the time by the Nickell inquiry team? His profile matches. He's even a dead ringer for the original photo fit. And now he's already serving time inside for a murder and 2 rapes.
Well, the thing is, he was ruled out because he had an alibi.
Yes, detective.
There's another thing.
Yes.
Nobody bothered to check. I mean, I've just been on the phone to his previous employers, and they keep excellent records. And they say that the sign-in sheets for the day of the murder gone missing. It was probably Napper that got rid of them in the first place to cover his tracks.
But this is the same man that went on to murder Jackie Bissett and her daughter the following year.
Yes, Gov. When Stagg was inside awaiting trial. Probably why nobody made the connection, or, well, nobody wanted to. I'm afraid it gets worse, sir.
How could this clusterfuck possibly be any worse?
Well, it's on Napper's background file from the Bissett murder that he had to attend counselling sessions for a previous rape conviction.
Right, so?
Well, the sessions were held on premises that were adjacent to Wimbledon Common. They keep good records too. Apparently,
Stagg had so confused. He had a session there. Napa had a session there on the day of the Nickell murder.
Jesus Christ! If we had caught him back then, we could have stopped him. Why didn't Pedder's team look at him more closely?
It was the psychologist, sir. He's the one that said all the cases were connected. I mean, he worked on all the cases, the Green Chain Rapist, the Bissett and Nickell murders. I remember his words exactly, actually. He said the crimes didn't have the same characteristics of sexual frenzy.
Frenzy? I'll give him some bloody frenzy. Some heads are going to roll when all this lot comes out.
We cut to Stagg's flat. It's November 2007, and Stagg's quietly reading a book with Gypsy curled up next to him on the sofa when the phone rings.
Hello? Alex? Colin, it's Alex. Good news. They've identified the DNA found on Rachel's clothing. It belongs to an offender already behind bars. They've charged him.
What?
Colin, can you hear me? With the Nickell murder, Colin. Are you there? Colin.
Yeah.
I told you, my friend, not to give up, didn't I? Say something.
And it took him 16 years.
Yeah. Cut to Keith Pedder's lounge at home in South London. Pedder's drinking some tea and reading the paper when he hears a familiar name on the television. Pictures of Napa and Stagg appear side by side. He turns up the volume.
Robert Napa, already serving a lifelong sentence in Broadmoor for the killing of a young mother and her child, as well as several other serious sexual assaults in South London, was considered an early suspect in the murder of Nickell, though he was dismissed in favour of Colin Stagg, who was subsequently found not guilty. Stagg's lawyer had this to say earlier today.
On behalf of my client, I would like to say how pleased he is that he will finally have a chance to clear his name and that the real killer of Rachel Nickell will be brought to justice. The sooner the police can interview this new suspect, the better. My client sincerely hopes now that he will be able to get on with his life. We will obviously be considering what case there is for taking legal action against the Metropolitan Police and anyone against those who sought to destroy my client's good name in the press and any other publications.
Robert Napa. Britain, you stupid cunt.
He throws his tea at the television. It stains the image of Britain's face. We cut to the interview lounge in Broadmoor in Berkshire. Two detectives, D.S. Holland and D.I. Moss, who is now handling the Nickell inquiry, sit down across from Robert Napa. He looks older, gaunt, but there's something noticeably different about him.
Hello again, Robert. I'm Detective Sergeant Holland. This is Detective Inspector Moss. I understand you wanted to speak to us.
I know you. You came to see me before. You fella, I don't know you.
That's right, Robert. It was a long time ago. I also saw you in court back in January. You pled not guilty to the murder of Rachel Nickell.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, we can put you at the scene of the Nickell murder, Robert. DNA evidence. It's come a long way since you went inside, and paint from your toolbox was recovered from her son's hair.
Yeah. Yeah. That's because I was there. I was there. I did it. I'm going to change my plea to guilty on the grounds of diminished responsibility.
Right. Well, we'd best get your statement then, Robert.
Robert, can I ask you why you've changed your plea?
Well, because you can prove I was there.
Okay.
And at least this way I can have done one good thing in my life. Something, you know. Can I ask you, do you think things would have turned out different for me if that man, the one on holiday, if he didn't take me into the woods, would it have been different?
Just take us through what happened on Wimbledon Common in 1992, Robert.
We cut to Stagg's lounge on the Alton estate, where Colin, Carol and Lee Stagg, Lee Ashley along with Alex Douglas Jones and his assistant Kirsty are browsing the tabloids.
Wow. Colin, it says here you'll be in line for £500,000 in compensation.
Oh, good. So you'll be hearing from Mum again soon then.
Yeah, and that creature Diane.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about her, Miss Lee. She already sold herself short with the newspaper article. She won't be able to lay claim to anything of yours now, Colin.
I see the Mail still loves you.
He holds up the Daily Mail where the headline reads, "Stagg, now I'll make a killing."
Oh, Colin, you have to be so careful when you see any women now. They'll be after your money.
What do you think you'll spend it on, Colin?
Carol, seriously?
Just saying, we do need a new washing machine, all right?
Well, when it comes to women, I've truly learnt my lesson. It's besides, don't worry about me.
Yeah, he's already seeing someone and she's dead nice.
Really? Oh, Colin, that's good.
Yeah, well, I haven't told anyone, so keep it quiet. The press will just try and make a mess out of it again, you know?
Yeah, well, maybe just take your time with this one, Colin. Do us all a favour, yeah, and get to know them.
That's good advice, Alex.
All right, I went to school with her, so that helps.
Bloody papers haven't printed half as much about this Napa geese as they did about Colin. And where's the criticism of the police? Where's the criticism of that prick, Britain? They got an interview with him in here, and he's claiming that he told the police that it was Napa the whole time. He's bloody changing his own history.
That'll be the paragraph where he denies any involvement in the Lizzie James operation, yeah?
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah, I've read it. Those papers still think he's an hero.
Yeah, that man is nothing but an arrogant arse.
Yeah, well, he'll probably write another book about it and explain his way out of it, won't he? His own disciplinary council didn't care about his conduct, so why would anyone else?
So will people now finally believe that you're innocent? I mean, the police have to say something, don't they?
Oh, believe me, they will. And I'll be getting you compensation plus costs. Trust me on that.
We cut to a press conference on the steps of New Scotland Yard, and it's December 2008. To the furious snapping of cameras, the Deputy Assistant Commissioner reads a statement to the press.
I would like to make it a matter of public record that we fully accept that Colin Stagg had nothing to do with the murder of Rachel Nickell. We must offer him an unreserved apology for the proceedings instigated against him by the Metropolitan Police. We acknowledge the huge and most regrettable effect this has had on his life for the last 15 years.
We crossed to Douglas Jones being interviewed nearby.
Mr. Douglas Jones, Mr. Sturman, you represented Stagg at his trial. What do you have to say about today's apology from the police?
Well, this was a miscarriage of justice waiting to happen. It had every conceivable element of error. A wrong identification, a high-profile murder, a scandalous allegation and expert evidence that was seriously flawed. They should be begging Colin Stagg to accept their apology, frankly.
We cut to a South London street where Colin's walking along with his Labrador, minding his own business. When he turns the corner, he almost bumps into another local man who's coming back from the shop with his newspaper.
Ah, sorry, mate, I didn't see you there.
No problem.
Hey, shit, you're that Colin Stagg fella, aren't you?
No, mate, no, I get that all the time. I just look like him.
You got shafted there, mate. I read your book. Didn't do it, did you?
No, of course not.
Look, I don't think you did it. I ain't no criminal psychologist, but I could have told the police that you're innocent. Take care, mate. Be lucky.
Yeah, thanks.
We cut to Wimbledon Common and it's July 2009. Colin and Terry, his new girlfriend, are walking over the common, holding hands with each other and with their black Labrador Gypsy in tow behind them. Standing on the brow of the hill, Colin looks across the groves of trees, pathways and streams. The common is filled with the same assortment of people we saw back on that fateful day in 1992. Children with their mums and dads, dog walkers, joggers and couples holding hands. As they pass another man sitting on a park bench, reading a copy of the Evening Standard, the headline, Colin Stagg wins £706,000. The man looks up at Stagg with a disapproving scowl. Ignoring this, Colin throws a stick for Gypsy to pursue. Another couple pass Terry and Colin and give them a smile.
Maybe people will forget about you now, Colin, and remember someone called Robert Napper.
Yeah, maybe. I've hardly mentioned Napper in the paper. I've heard that he wants to write me a letter of apology. Everyone else seems more concerned about how much money I've been awarded than they do with the fact that I didn't actually kill anyone. It's not like I was in charge of the amount of compensation, though, was it?
God, you can't put a price on what you've been through.
Still, at least I'll be able to do some things with the flat finally. You know, we can go on holiday and all this time. You know, I've never actually been abroad.
Are you really still going to live there after all this? Don't you want to move?
Move? This is my home. I never did anything. Why should I move?
Yeah. Why should you? So a holiday sounds nice. Where do you want to go? My treat.
Somewhere with beautiful sunsets. Do you fancy Greece?
They look across the common as Gypsy is running back towards them with a stick in her mouth. As they continue on their way, we dissolve to a small tree stump where a collection of fresh flowers lie. One of them has a tag which reads, "For Rachel, may you never be forgotten. C." We fade to black.
In December of 2008, Robert Napper entered a plea of guilty for the murder of Rachel Nickell. He is currently serving 2 life sentences for murder, with a recommendation that he never be released.
Lizzie James left the police in 1998. She was eventually awarded £125,000 in compensation from the Metropolitan Police for serious psychiatric injury for her role in Operation Edsel. This payment was widely criticised by many, comparing it to that given to Rachel's son, Alex, who has only received £22,000.
In November 2009, Andre Hanscom, the boyfriend of the late Rachel Nickell, personally wrote a letter of apology to Colin Stagg. He received it with gratitude. Colin Stagg would write his own book about his experience, assisted by writer Ted Hines. It's called Innocent. I highly recommend you read it.
Paul Britton is no longer registered with the police as a criminal profiler. He never admitted making any mistakes, nor gave Colin Stagg an apology.
Colin now has a new life with partner Terry and has left the past behind him.
Thanks to the persistence of his legal team, Colin Stagg was awarded £706,000 in compensation for his ordeal. The tabloid newspapers who led the hate campaign against him claimed this amount was too high and continued to vilify him in the eyes of the public. Accipere quam facere prestat injurium. It is better to suffer an injustice than to do an injustice.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to now please join the cast and the Outcasts Creative team behind this production for our live Q&A, hosted by our fellow creative lions. So if all the actors could please turn on their cameras.
Done, cast. Just like to say to the cast, give themselves a round of applause, please. Good, spectacular job. We're gonna hand over, as Michael said, to the host of our Q&A, who is Tolu Stedfords. So Tolu, if you want to take it away. You did a cameo in episode 5 today.
I did, but it was absolutely just awe-inspiring to watch all of you just really come into all sorts of different characters. I saw so much talent, and I would like the audience to know how difficult it is to do this through Zoom. Okay, this takes a lot of dedication, and we're not in the room. and playing multiple characters. I just want to give you all a real big round of applause again. Respect, guys. Big respect to you guys. Big respect. Honestly, big respect. Well done. Well done. And to you, Mr. Lance Nielsen. Well done. Incredible.
Come on, put my camera on, please.
The honour was all mine. It was a privilege to work with these guys. It's a huge cast. It was quite a big undertaking, and we did it in record time. I could not be prouder. I've worked with big casts before, and it can be quite problematical, but we just had a fantastic energy the whole time. Everybody was just so committed and up for it. I couldn't have asked for a better cast, really. They were fantastic. And Dickon, of course, my intrepid partner in crime who runs the Outcasts with me.
Woo! Give him a round of applause. Well done, Dickon.
So
I did nothing. I mean, I can't believe what a talented group of individuals have come together to do this. It's a new art form. It's a new format. It's a brilliant script. And I think it's probably more genuine and to the truth than anything you're going to see imminently on any other channel that's coming out soon. And how the people have worked so hard. They've been dedicating their time. They've been on time every time. And they've been giving us their energy. It's been absolutely flattering to work with such a really tight, dedicated group of individuals that make such a great team as this. And there is no I in team. And that's why we've managed to come together as a collective and work like this. It's amazing. Everyone just, you know, plays their part, whether it's a bit part one week and a full part the next week. It doesn't seem to matter. Everyone's chipped in and done the best that they can to the best of their abilities in every role they've been given. The narrators have done an absolutely superb job, and I think they deserve a round of applause already.
yes, because it's a thankless task that no one wants to do, but we all came together because who are we, Dickon?
Outcasts! That's testimony to the energy that we can all feel as the audience. There is definitely a feel of a collective here, and that is hard to bring across on Zoom. So this is why your feat is it's just so incredible. And I hope that, thankfully, thank God it's on YouTube, people can keep revisiting this. And I think that you guys are the pioneers of a new wave of actually entertaining people. You're really keeping people going, and well done. Honestly, so much respect to you. So much respect.
Thank you.
And on that note, I love you. On that, Lance, there's some good news, because at the end of this call, we're going to be giving out an award, right? Do you want to tell everyone about the award?
I'll let Dickon contribute a bit as well. I mean, Dickon and I have our friendship to thank, well, to two people, really. One of them is the late and amazing Graham Fletcher Cook, who sadly passed away, I think it was May of last year. And Graham used to run an improvisation drama workshop called Timber Theatre, and it was because of that workshop that I met Dickon, who said, by the way, I've just been in a movie, check it out. I went to rent that video, and because of that renting, that's how I met Jason Fleming, who's a regular collaborator and supporter of all my work, and actually owns copyright of all my work as well, co-copyright. And so because of Graham, I met Dickon, I met Jason, and several people here I brought onto Timber, which was Graham's class, or I met them there, including Fiona, Kenny, there's some others here, Teresa, Dickon I mentioned already, Anne Heasel, who did loads of work on this production as well, Anne and Teresa, Oriana, Netta was there as well. So, I mean, there's a big bunch of us who really owe a big debt of gratitude for Graham, you know, as we say, sadly can't be here. And after Graham's passing, I think it might have been within a week, Dickon and I were probably sharing a very large mutual drink of alcohol. And I said, we really need to do something along the lines of Timber Theatre, we should start up our own acting class again. And that was the genesis of that became the Outcasts, and that's how the Outcasts started. And we decided we were going to do at least one play a year. We did Borderlands last year at the was it the Hen and Chickens?
Hen and Chickens.
Yes, Hen and Chickens.
Yeah, that was great fun and did really well. And at the end of every production, towards the end of the year, we give out something called the Graham Fletcher Cook Award to the person that we feel has contributed the most of what the essence of the Outcasts is towards the organisation that year. Now, this year and from this year onwards, we're going to do 2 awards. We're going to do that and a Star Performer Award, which can be from any of the performances we've done throughout the year. And we've read 25 scripts this year. 25. So not publicly, but we're doing Zoom read-throughs every Monday night. And so we must have had about 150 actors on those calls altogether. So one of those people is going to get our Star Performer Award, and another is going to get our Graham Fletcher Cook Award, which comes with a free Outcast new edition hoodie, which we'll be ordering shortly.
Let me tell you, they're really good quality hoodies.
Yeah,
I got this one back like last October, and
Nice.
and it's perfectly still on there. The label, as you can see, there's a back logo as well, and you even have a choice of colours. So
yes, indeed. And we're gonna tell you who's got those awards at the end of the Q&A.
Yeah, so you're gonna all have to stick around, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
But
because
you're all winners
both the people who've got those awards are currently on this call. So we'll come back to that in a moment.
Okay, you're all winners. You're all amazing. Right, let's just ask you a little bit before. I want to make sure that we know that I'm hosting alongside my beautiful lions here, Kyrie and Bello, and Jess Collette. Why did I just say that wrong? Oh my God, I was like, no!
No, you said Collette, you said it right.
Oh, good. So we will all be asking you questions. We're doing this together. So let's just ask Lance and Dickinson just a bit more about how you came about making this happen. How did you get this cast together and choose this particular one to take onto Zoom?
they say that necessity is the mother of invention, and in terms of the Zoom format, I think it's purely necessity that has dictated a transference from theatre or creating films into the new format. However, on the actual production of the Colin Stagg, I have to say Lance is so prolific. He works so hard. They used to call James Brown the hardest working man in show business, but I think he's been given a fair run for his money by Lance. He's writing all the time, and I think actually lockdown has been really good for him because he's actually become more productive. It's amazing. It's insane how much he works.
I mean, I'm facing severe financial hardship at the moment, and the only way I can really get out of it was to make sure I can sell some scripts at the end of this year. I've actually got a meeting about one in a couple of weeks, nothing to do with this production. I mean, that wasn't the motivation behind all this, but I wrote this this script 12 years ago. It's actually started life as a play in 2004, which was before Colin, 4 years before Colin was exonerated, because I'd worked on other productions, Hillsborough Marchioness, the Victoria Climbié Inquiry, and the Victoria Climbié Inquiry in particular was very insightful in terms of how the press manipulate, how the media manipulate and vilify people. And Lisa Arthurworry, who was Victoria Climbié's primary social care worker with Haringey Council, she particularly came in for a nasty portrayal in the press. And you know, I'm not going to get into that case because we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
But that was where I could see how they were manipulating the story, and I could see that going on with Colin, and my interest in the Stagg case started because one of my best friends at the time, ironically also called Colin, ironically also looks a bit like Colin Stagg, was called in for questioning because he was having counselling, he was having group counselling, I think, I'm not 100% certain, but I think in the same building as Robert Napper, but he wasn't there on the day of the murder. But somebody in his group counselling session, which was really upsetting for him because it was a betrayal of confidence, when he's a bit weird, you should look into him, and called up the Crime Watch programme and named it. So he had police come round his house, and he's really into like fantasy and sci-fi, and he's into tarot cards and all this kind of thing. So he had all that stuff in his house, and he had 2 police officers, I don't know which ones, going through his house and picking up his books and going, questioning him. And the whole experience for him was massively, massively upsetting. And of course, he had absolutely nothing to do with the case. So that was when I got interested in it. And then when I sort of saw Colin Stagg was kind of getting labelled, I didn't believe it. There was lots of things about it when I saw him and the way he behaved and on camera, it just didn't feel right to me. So I sort of had an interest in the case. I followed it. That then became a stream of research in the early 2000s, which started forming into a play. And as I was writing it into a play, it was Jason Fleming that said to me, maybe you should try and sell this as a TV show. So we had Fleming and about 5 other actors, including a really well-known actor attached to play Stagg. I don't want to say who it was because that's a long time ago now, and they probably won't even remember. But and no one wanted to make it. And this was after he was exonerated. I finished that script. It was 4 parts, not 5 back then. And no one wanted to make it. And I know why they didn't want to make it, because they didn't want to make a film where the hero was basically an ordinary guy who most people in the public eye thought was a weirdo. And they just didn't want to tell that story, Colin's story. And I thought that was really unfortunate, but we couldn't sell it. And it was too big to put on stage in the end. It was too expensive because I covered so many different elements, as you can appreciate. And the original stage production of it was much smaller. So
smaller. Wow, that's a lot of story.
That's how it started in the original format. And it was just as we were in lockdown and we were doing script readings every Monday, I think around June time, I plucked it out and said, we're going to do this soon. And I started rewriting it. And as I was doing a rewrite on it, I thought this would be really good for our performance. And then we started rehearsing it. And as we were rehearsing it, I think we also heard that there's another production not made from Colin's perspective, had just gone into production by coincidence with Channel 4. So that was an unusual happening. It's kind of nice that ours came out first, really.
Pioneers. That's what I say. You're all pioneers. Thank you so much. We have got a lot of you to try and get through. So I'm going to just tell you right now, we're going to do our best to talk to every one of you because you all deserve your own platform to, contribute to this because your contributions meant everything. So thank you so much, Lance.
There's a load of questions on YouTube already, about 7 of them.
We've got them, don't worry, Lance.
We're on it. I'm handing over to Jess because Jess is going to give some of them right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I think this is quite a fun one. So this is from Richard Colin. Hope I pronounced your name correctly, probably not. Technology can be unpredictable. Were there any hiccups that happened during the live that didn't happen during rehearsals?
Michael, we had them happen during the performances. Yeah. Michael, who's playing Paul Britton, dropped off the performance, I think it was 4 times last week, but always when his scenes weren't on. So it was pure luck that we were able to get him back on the call in time for his scenes. And then we had that happened in rehearsals a lot. That's why we had fairly early on in rehearsals, we said we've got to have a male nominated cover person and a female nominated cover. And they were ready like hounds at the starting gate to jump in if needs be. But time lag and we had an issue with Magda's sound today and she kind of went out of picture during performance as well, which was a shame. But this is all a learning curve. It's all new for us, the first time we've ever done anything like this. So we were learning as we were going along. I'm sure other technical hitches happened that others can mention, but we have lots of them.
Did you want to say something?
I just had last week, I was just saying, yes, I had my mouse kept slipping, and then the day after the battery went, so it wouldn't. I kept trying to scroll it, and I was late. But
yeah,
Luke is fantastic. He covered for me last week. So.
Yeah,
Can
we
I
had
ask everyone to change their names to their actual names now, because I think it's going to be a lot easier for everybody, and especially the audience. They want to be your fans for the rest of their lives, so they need to know who they need to go and follow. Take down your favorite actor. I know it's hard to choose. It might be all of them. Take them all down. Do it. Write them down right now and go and follow them and support their work. Support their work, because they gave this time for you for free. Please, I'm asking you now, write down the names and follow them. So yes, I think Jake as well, you had one, did you?
Yeah, just wanted to say it was during episode, I think it's episode 3. There's an argument in the prison pool hole, and you can see I've got this white backdrop right behind me. And it actually
fell down, didn't it?
Yeah, it came loose. And I had a look at it, thinking like, oh no, I've messed up the whole thing. And I looked at it, and it actually didn't look as bad as I thought. But somebody said they thought it looked like it was part of a riot breaking out, and someone was starting to trash the place. So that was kind of a fortunate accident. But the most important thing is just staying calm if something like that happens, and just not panicking, and to still do your part as best you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On that note, I'm going to introduce the lead characters, so we can get their questions going. We had Colin Stagg played by Luke Hobson. Robert Napper was Chris Freeman, but he's not here. And then I don't know if anyone spotted the character.
Chris Freeman, sadly, his mother was taken into hospital, and that happened yesterday. We kind of knew that he might not be here today. There was no time to recast Napper, so
cool.
I rehearsed it.
I was just going to say, I don't know if anyone spotted that Lance took that over and did it really well. We had Gary Hales playing DI Keith Pedder, Carl Williams playing DCI Mick Wickerson, and Michael Littman playing Paul Britton. And before I hand back over to Tolu, I just wanted to ask a question to Luke, because Luke was incredible. He came onto this really late in the game, and he had so many lines to learn. So I want to know how the hell you did that. Give an actor a tip, please, Luke. Incredible.
Winging it. No, I don't know. I guess just read the script lots of times. I think I don't know. Learning lines for me, it's sort of like a reading process more than anything. Just understanding what you're saying. I don't know. Yeah, that's a terrible answer. Sorry.
Luke, I gave Luke a lot of research videos and things and clips of Colin, and I mean, he did come on late. He was the last role we cast, but he didn't miss any of the rehearsals. In fact, he wanted to do it but couldn't originally because he wasn't available Friday. So we actually reorientated the entire schedule so Luke could do it, because when he read for the part, as soon as he read it, it was just like, oh, this is the guy. And then he said he had a whole collection of cut-off black T-shirts, so that was it. He sealed the deal.
Sold.
And a guitar.
and a guitar, yeah. Yeah, so there you go. So by the way, just so everybody knows, I'm panning back and forth from one screen to the other frequently so that we do get everybody on camera. But I think, Lyons, when you go and speak to the individual groups, we should probably have some people turn their cameras off so we can get those people you're talking to all on the screen at the same time.
Yeah, I think we can do that now, actually. Kai, who's in our next group now?
We're in the lead.
That was the
Yeah,
group
I want to keep Dickon on the call the whole time, please. So we're doing do you want to do the leads and the?
Yeah, we're doing the lead actors I just introduced. You got them?
So we've got Luke and who else did you want on? Luke, Paul Britton.
You might need to just
Pedder, Wickerson.
Yeah.
Pedder and Wickerson.
Just
I think you
read the
should
list
have
again.
Bassett on as well, played by the wonderful Chris Porter, who's now got his special edition jumper on for Bassett's retirement. There you can see.
Love it.
And it's my first time
Have we
with
got
both,
everyone on?
Luke, Chris, and Carl and Gary. What a fantastic leading cast me and Dickon had. Just a superb bunch of guys, so dedicated. They were really just awesome to work with.
Okay, so can I throw another question to you guys? How did you guys find the rehearsal process through Zoom, with not being in the room with everybody? And how did you feel the energy? How was that for you all? Anybody can take that.
Go on, Luke.
It's for me, I think I struggled quite a lot at the beginning because I'm so used to sort of, I don't know, just sitting with someone. Do you know what I mean? It makes a massive difference when you are actually being able to look at that person in the eye. And obviously with this, you can't necessarily do that because Zoom has a way of putting the boxes in place you don't want them. There were times when I'd have a line of blank boxes and then all the people I actually wanted to talk to at the bottom. And it's like, fuck, what am I doing? In terms of energy and stuff, that was, I guess, for me, it was about kind of biting your cues before the person finished their lines to try and make it faster, because sometimes you need to just account for lag and stuff, which we can't know about. And so you kind of hope for the best that you've bitten it off at the right time and stuff. But for me, that was kind of the main thing, was just to make sure that the cues were I don't know what anyone else thinks.
It's really interesting because I've done a lot of radio, which is some ways similar, but a different kind of energy, particularly because we did this live. And it was quite bizarre getting to know everybody via Zoom. A lot of people I've never met before, hope I will meet at some point. And it was very interesting getting to know people over Zoom. It was just quite an exciting, quite an interesting experience. And part of, as well as the script, which I think is brilliant, it was really an interesting thing to try. And I think succeed at doing. I think that this, from the feedback that I've received from various people and seen here, there and everywhere, I think we succeeded to a great degree at getting the story across, making the characters believable in a situation that is quite incredible. I mean, it's like Celebrity Squares almost. You're watching it, for those of you that remember that. And it's quite funny being in isolation, sitting in a living room or sitting wherever you are, adopting this character with the script and working with other people. And over the weeks that we've rehearsed and worked together, I think we've all developed a kind of, I don't know, a way of breaking through the Zoom and actually kind of almost feeling like we are with each other. For me, particularly, the scene that I did in the episode we did today, which was my character's retirement.
Oh, yeah, I've got to compliment Kai on that cake.
Oh, like my policeman helmet?
Yeah, we didn't know that cake prop was coming. We've been rehearsing with a little box of some sort.
And that's part of kind of what I'm talking about, is everybody worked hard to make this as real as possible. And apart from the fact that we're obviously not together, it really does get the feeling that we are, and we're reacting to each other in real time, in a real space. It's been a very interesting, very exciting time. And I think it's something that will go further, not just with us and you guys, but I think other people will see this and want to run with it, because it's a great way to get out there and get stories told, get things made, and another way for people to experience theatre in one way or another. And
I was very adamant with the cast that they must call it a performance and not a reading, because what I didn't want was people reading a screenplay, a table read, which kind of focuses your energy in a very different way. And it's really, like Gary's saying, it's a completely new medium. So you've got stage, you've got radio, you've got film, and you've got television, and now you've got Zoom. And it's not just the energies and the way that we relate to each other are different. but the way you act and the way you perform is different, because there's a lot you can do with distance from the camera. Just by coming in closer gives a very different energy to your performance. Going further away does something else. And also Zoom responds to voice. So what you do with sound is very important. That was all a completely new learning curve. There were some things that actors were doing that I was like, that's not going to work on Zoom. And how you do cues and stuff like that was all a completely new thing for us all to learn off the bat. But the good thing is that the Outcasts, the regulars, of which Michael is one of our regulars, Debbie as well, who's on camera at the minute.
Yes.
We've been doing them for weeks, and Jess as well. We've been doing them for weeks, and Tolu and Kai, I think, did a couple of scripts as well. And Luke's going to be on for the next 20 weeks now, he's told me. So we have been, that was a really good training ground for this, really. Somebody asked how long our rehearsal period was, by the way. I think it was 5 weeks. 3 weeks before the first performance, and then we kept rehearsing right up until yesterday, and did a run through in the morning.
Well, Jess, was you going to ask something first?
Can do, yeah. No, I've just got another question from YouTube, and was asking, what were your favourite parts of this performance? So, Michael, do you want to go? You are our narrator as well as Britton.
I actually enjoyed all of it. I mean, because I loved being able to get into this character. I mean, I could research Paul Britton online. There was a couple of things that I'd seen of his on YouTube, and that's what gave me the change of voice. I even had to change my bottom lip to give me the expression that he did, and there was certain breathing that he did on sentences, and he just really, from watching those couple of videos online, I could then get into that character. It kind of goes back to what Gary was saying. You know, it's a different medium, and you're getting into this character, and you're in the room on your own, and when you learn a part, you get into a character, you live that character, you learn the backstory of that character, and you're doing that all in the room on your own against people on a screen. So it was really great playing him, and it was great playing this kind of guy that's a cross between a good guy and a bad guy. He's not one or the other, but obviously he turned out to be bad in the end. But on his previous cases, he'd done all right, but this one tripped him up. So it was nice playing that kind of character. And I actually really enjoyed doing the narration as well. It's really good fun. Because as well, you know, there's emphasis, even while you're acting, you put emphasis on certain words. And with the narration, you put emphasis on certain words. There was a bit before, at the end of part 5, where I mentioned about the tree stump and the flowers being near the tree stump. And to do that, to make that effective, I slowed that narration right down towards the end of that sentence to give it more feeling. So you can't see me doing it, but you have to do that with your vocals. So it's like Lance was saying, this is a completely new medium, and we're learning quite quickly on how to make this work between TV, film, and radio. It's a whole mix of those things. So yeah, it was a great experience, and let's hope we can develop this, and other people can develop this more and more.
There was also something to me. I mean, I trying to think about the best part. One of the reasons that I was really excited about doing this was because I knew very little about the story, and actually thought, I'll be really honest, put my hands up, I thought Colin Stagg did it. I don't remember Napa at all. I don't remember that making the news. And reading this was really interesting and fascinating, and then doing some research on it. And it's been really nice. I don't want to be condescending or patronizing, but trying to educate and let people know the story, which is brilliant in itself. But also representing real people is a great responsibility. And I think everybody in this, particularly Luke and particularly Michael, done an amazing job at really capturing those characters and making you believe that they are who they say they are.
That is an incredible thing. Honestly, it was so gripping for that reason exactly. And I know I could talk to you guys all day, but we do need to get through the rest of the cast.
Does that mean I can take that off now?
Wait, not yet. All right. Oh yeah, there he is. Liz, look at that handsome face. I've been waiting for that since episode 1.
I'm boiling.
Gorgeous.
And before we move on again, I just want to reiterate what an honour it was and a pleasure. Not only to work with the people I've worked with many times, but also Carl, Gary, and Chris. Chris is being uncharacteristically very quiet and demure there, but he made a really great contribution towards the production as Bassett, and he was like Bassett from day one. It was quite incredible. You know, some people needed more direction than others. I think I gave Chris 2 notes and the entire rehearsal process. And
I do beige middle management very well. So
what was that?
I do beige middle management very well.
You were never beige, Chris. I would never give you beige. No, no, no. Honestly, you're a little secret scene stealer. You are absolutely captivating, honestly. No, honestly, I want to hear from you, Debbie, Chris, and Carl. How was it for you? What is your takeaway from this experience? I'm
going to quickly jump in. I
Debbie in the wrong group here, but she's on now, so we'll leave it.
I hate Zoom because screens give me a headache. So I can do a little bit, but too much, and I'm sort of like that. I hope we can go back to theatres soon. But I do enjoy watching people. I did enjoy watching other people's performance. But from a personal point of view, I like, oh God, take me back to the theatre, take me back to a film set quickly as possible, please.
I'll do my best to try and make that reality come true for you.
I'm going to hold you to that, mate.
Paid work would be good.
I'm going to hold you to that.
You can.
Working on it. Carl?
Me personally, I mean, when I came onto this, there was a tiny part of me that was really skeptical, and one of that, a mate of mine, I was explaining it to him, and he's quite frank, and he just said, "That's going to be absolutely crap." I'm like, "I don't think it's going to be crap. I actually think it's going to be really good." He said, "No, it's going to be crap." He said, "I'll watch it though." No word. No lie. He watched it. He was on the phone. He was like, "That was so much better than I thought it was going to be. That was really, really good." I was like, yeah, it really is, and I think as people said, this new medium and almost this new concept has started and hopefully can carry on. I think more and more people are going to buy into it, and if you get such a great cast together like this with great writing and great direction and so on and so forth, it is actually really, really captivating. And if you put it on its platform for what it is fantastic. I mean, I wish I could have watched all of it, but I went back.
Go back.
Yeah.
Go back and watch it. It's still time.
It's available. You can watch it on YouTube.
Oh, no, I know that. I've just been so busy learning lines, darlings.
We might have to charge you now, unfortunately. You missed your... No, I'm joking. You did amazing. You guys are absolutely incredible. Chris, I don't want you to look at another screen. So just, it's your time is done. You've done your time. Well done, guys. Jess, who's into the next group? Another round of applause for the leads.
Thank you. I had quite a lot of scenes with you guys, and so that was so much fun acting with all of you guys.
So we've got, is it the Stagg family and co?
Yeah, so I think we're going to bring on the family and neighbours, and we've kind of grouped people.
So that would be if Teresa, you come on camera, Lee Ashley, Richard Lewis, Debbie we still have here, so she can stay on. Mrs. Carr, Colin's mum, and Dave Carr, who we can see is in character still, because Kenny really commits.
All right, you know what I mean?
As always.
And then Lee Stagg as well, played by Ashley Hodgson.
Hello.
Have we got? Yeah, there he is. Great. And the lovely Anne Heasel, who played Lee's wife, and she also played Rachel Nickell as well. So, Tolly, you're muted.
Sorry, Jess, I thought you was going to ask the questions.
Oh, yeah, well...
I was just keeping quiet. No, that's...
I was just going to bring everyone on, but Lance did it for me. So,
so I'm going to change. Grant's name.
No worries. Yeah. So,
welcome.
Yeah, great stuff. Yes. Sorry, Lance, you've just completely thrown me.
Don't worry, I got you, girl.
I want to know from you guys, how was it playing real life characters? What kind of research did you do? Did you feel like you just wanted to put your own spin on it? That kind of thing.
Well, should I start? I would say I didn't do any research, if I'm honest, regarding Cheryl, but my own take of her was that she was a lovely woman, believed Colin was innocent all the way, and just wanted to help him. And I had such a great bond with Luke playing Colin. I just felt so warm towards his character, and so I just wanted to help him. I just wanted him to feel good and not feel bad about everything that was going on. So anything that I could do, I tried to do with the Cheryl character, to make him feel welcome, to make him feel that I believed he was innocent all the way. So yeah, it was great playing Cheryl. I really enjoyed playing her, and I hope she came across that way.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Angela.
Yeah. I loved Cheryl. I want her as my neighbour. I loved what you did with her, Debbie.
Thank you.
But I wanted to sort of echo what you said about Luke, actually, because obviously, you know, Luke's character, Colin, is the centerpiece of this, and the way that Luke, sorry Luke, I know you got your camera off, but the way that Luke was playing this with such commitment and such integrity and honesty, and made it very easy, I think, certainly for myself as well, Debbie, as a character that was there primarily to support him. It was actually very easy to not have to do the usual substitution that an actor might have to do to bring truth to that. I genuinely wanted to help Colin, because it was hard not to sort of love that character and to feel that you wanted to support him, and that you really felt the injustice. I felt that very, very strongly, especially in this last episode. The injustice was really, really deep. So yeah, thank you.
It came across, Angela,
Jake,
definitely.
Jake's keen. Go for it.
Well, I was playing his neighbour Mike in I think episodes 2 and then episode 4 again. Now, it's not the first time I've had to act and play a real person. The last person I had to play was a pretty good sport about how they were portrayed, actually. But I've got to admit, like Debbie, I haven't actually been able to do any research into this character. And I have to be honest, something I really hate is when other people are speaking on my behalf and saying, look, impression of you, this is what you do. But with Lance, I just, you know, he's somebody I know he's done his research. I know he's someone I can really put my trust in, because he is an outstanding writer, and he's really good at lots of different genres of writing as well. He's done sci-fi, he's done rom-com. Yeah, he's looking at real life.
I might even sell one of them one day, you know.
It's coming.
You will. You will. It's not a might. You will, Lance.
I think I need to add that both Debbie and Jake's characters were composites of various people, whereas, you know, for Teresa and Angela were playing characters that were singular individuals. They were named after the real people. Everything in all their scenes were extrapolated from facts of one place or another. I need to plug Ted Hines's book as well before I forget. This is now called Innocent, this book. This is the old one, Pariah. I had about 5 different research sources for the characters. This was one of them, obviously. So big plug for Ted Hines's book. Do read it. It's called Innocent now. It's really good. And there are various neighbours mentioned in that, but there's lots of them. I mean, not loads, but there were like 2 or 3 women on the estate that supported Colin. The neighbours, Richard and Cheryl Lewis, I think I used their real first names. They were real as well, and they did support him, and they did invite him round. I don't know if it was on New Year's Eve, but they invited him round for social things, and they were the only people who did that. But Mike and Debbie's characters were composites of various people, so they were representing other characters as well.
I honestly didn't know.
We can make sure we put those details in the chat.
Can I add just to it? No, talking about the building the characters and stuff like that. I mean, for me, it was like Dave Carr was a bit of a wrong 'un. The only sort of research I've done is I looked at the people I grew up with, some wrong 'uns in my life. Yeah, because they'll, you know, they look for a buck anywhere. You know what I mean? If I can be able to make a bit of money, you know what I mean, I'll do it. You know, and then the stone I put on it, my dad's not a wrong 'un, but this is my old man.
Yeah.
So what,
And
I remember him, Kenny. I remember him.
This is my old man. That's why he's all right. You know what I mean?
Him, lovely geezer.
That was my research.
I love it.
I love it. It worked. It worked.
Deborah, you were playing his mum, and so how was that? She's not the nicest of characters either.
Mrs. Carr.
No, she wasn't very. Oh, I love her. Yeah, obviously, brilliant piece of writing. I'm so grateful to be part of this amazing team. And Lance gave me a couple of pointers on Mrs. Carr. So, and then I was away. I think I was more worried about the technical side, not being very technical, and how to, you know, and having problems with the internet and everything like that. So I think I was more concerned about that. But it is an amazing thing to do, because obviously I was able to watch episode 1 and 2, and I thought, wow, this is amazing, and I was so excited to be part of, you know, episode 3 and 4. So I think I was really lucky to be able to see 1 and 2 and then be part of 3 and 4. So I was really looking forward to it. So yeah, the character is not the nicest person, but it's great to get your teeth into.
You did get your teeth into it. I was at Teresa, you did have your hand up, and I just want to say, Teresa, you was meant to be on the other one. We want to give you another big round of applause to Teresa, because she did so much behind the scenes, and we need to take this moment to really acknowledge a powerhouse woman. Yes, she is.
Well,
yeah,
actually,
Teresa was hosting our Zoom calls early on because I couldn't afford a Zoom account.
Yeah,
that's how bad things were in the Nielsen household. So she, in a way, she almost financially assisted the production, and she was doing things like releases and ringing up people when they were late for rehearsals and playing a bit of a villain on my behalf, really. Which is a role no one wants. So just want a big thank you from her for me personally, and Dickon.
Thank you so much. It's been so enjoyable in so many different ways. It's given me a big, you know, my teeth to get into something big and juicy. Such a great project. Producer wise, yeah, it's always, there's always more work than you think there's going to be. I thought this was going to be a small Zoom project. There was more, and you know, Lance at 11 o'clock, are you still awake? 11 o'clock at night, he was, and I was going, yeah, I'm going to get up the next morning, why not? So likewise, I've had financially had to rely, I got a Zoom for my drama classes and other things I was doing. So yeah, it's been a tough year for actors. So any shout out for actors, the public, please support us with all the Instagram follows, particularly Lance, who's done this free, and all of us, because we haven't been working this year. But going back to my character, how would I do it is there's different methods. Meisner is so with someone like Luke, you can really react so well because he's fantastic. And then, you know, who played Colin Stagg, he was so good with reacting. So Meisner is about reacting. Most actors will try and find a backstory. If you're playing a real person, yeah, the first thing I did when I did Florence Nightingale was read everything about her. But with Diane, there was nothing on the internet apart from 3 photos of her wedding days. So Lance and I discussed a lot, and I decided to come up with a backstory, because why would somebody write to the British, you know, to prisoners? So I thought, well, maybe her dad was in prison. Maybe he was a shouter. Maybe her mum was a doormat, and she thought, never again, I'm not going to be treated like that by a man. And maybe, I mean, most addicts who smoke and drink a lot, and Barry, I was telling Luke this, in the 90s, early 90s, you could not go into a club without you know, it was so smoky. It was like a chimney, being up a chimney in some clubs and pubs. You'd come out and your clothes would be reeking. So it was a norm to smoke a lot. Wow. And it was 90s was the ladette culture, where you know, you were encouraged, like I was, sort of, if I didn't want to drink another drink, someone would go, oh, come on, have another one. You don't want to stop at an orange juice. Go on, have another one. Have another one. Yeah. And I think it was a culture that we have lived in the last 20 years, where women have drank a lot more than probably any other time in history. So what does alcohol and fags do? And I was thinking they make you grumpy because the next day you're hungover if you're drinking all the time. So the backstory was, you know, I think that she might have had abortions. I just made it, created a story basically.
I don't want to speculate about. We've got to be careful about speculating about.
Oh yeah, no, I just made it.
No, that was clarify. It's purely Teresa's method of getting into the headspace of the character.
It really was, because I like to know everything about my character, where they've come from, who are they, what their background is, and that really is what I think a lot of actors don't do enough of. They don't think beyond to who am I, what do I eat, where, you know, and I've only started doing that in the last 10 years after getting some LA acting classes, and they really do look at method acting more and Stanislavski.
Teresa, it showed in your work, and this is the thing, even when you're talking, Kenny, these are characters I know in my past, and it was so nice. It felt like going back home sometimes when I'm seeing, because it's nostalgic. If you're of a certain age, you know, the world is different. And when you, even you, Grant, when you put your and you're there, and I'm feeling, I know these people. And that is what we love about watching you all on screen. And this is what we miss about going to the theatre. I think, did you say that you have a question, Kai?
I had a question for Ashley. Kind of on a similar theme, because he played opposite Luke as Luke's brother, and how he found that process, and because I think they got the chemistry spot on, the pair of them. They look like brothers and acted like.
I said that to Ashley when I said, when the guy who's playing Stagg, because I cast Ashley quite early because we knew each other already, and I said, the guy who's playing your brother, you look like brothers, the two of you. You could be brothers. And they were amazing together. I thought, just so realistic. It's fantastic.
Well, I think as most people will attest here, Luke is just a very nice guy and someone who's very easy to work with. So, you know, a lot of it really does come down to Luke, I would say. I think in terms of Lance, am I right in thinking Lee Stagg was real? Or
yeah, and most of the I think all of the scenes that you were in, they all happened.
Yeah,
he did say some of the dialogue that you said, and then obviously other stuff I extrapolated from conversations and tried to inject a bit of levity and things, because I think him and Lee Ashley were the only two really positive constants. And I don't know, Lee Stagg was always a positive constant, but obviously because there were other people in the Stagg family at first, other relatives, that didn't think Colin was innocent at the beginning. So, you know, he was in a bit of a dichotomy there, but he did stick by him from what I can tell, from the research I've been able to find out.
Can I just add to Teresa's character, Diane? Teresa played it so well that it made it very easy for me to hate her and really just want to slap her around the face, to be honest. So thanks, T. You helped me along there.
We don't hate each other in real life.
We love each other in real life.
You made me laugh a lot, Teresa, as well.
Kenny and Debbie I've known for about 10 years. Yeah. So, and Dick in a long time. But we've hung out together, all of us,
As for backstories, I think if you're cast in a part and there's a real life experience you can personally draw on, it's almost a no-brainer to do that. But of course, if it's somebody you don't know and they are a real person, of course, do the research if you can.
We couldn't find much out about Lillian Avid. I just want to bring Oriana in because she was late.
That's what I was going to say.
And we couldn't find out much about her, but we do know she did say that stuff at the trial. She did say of course, and he was the one who did it because, you know, it must have been him. She actually said that on the stand. That's in the testimony. And she was the one who called Crime Watch and named him. She was the first one. I think a couple of other people might have called Crime Watch, but she did call Crime Watch. She named him, and she did have that conversation with him. And she did actually say to him, "Are you sure you didn't do it?" She actually said that to him on the day of the murder when he was saying something's happened over there. And so she was the spark that lit the whole fire that put him in the picture. And Oriana and I had a lot of conversations about how she should play it. And then she had this idea of having the magnifying glass when she's looking at his door, which was such a great idea. So it'd be good to hear her thoughts on that.
Right, thanks, love. Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, it's been really a wonderful experience working with everybody. And yeah, I mean, with Lily and Avid, I did try to have a little bit of a research, but I couldn't find much about her. So yeah, I had some conversations with Lance, and I thought, well, draw on the experience of other inspiring female actresses. I love Julie Walters and Victoria Wood and, you know, and French and Saunders, and they've aged up over the years through their comedy and their work, and I thoroughly enjoy that. And I thought, well, I think with such a serious case and such a serious story as well, you know, it's important not to mock the story and the writing and the truth of it, but also it's really important to have some sort of comedy relief. So I really enjoyed the opportunity to play Lily and Avid that way, and bringing her, you know, the big magnifying glass and sort of putting my eye right up to the camera and just sort of letting her presence be known, as I'm sure Stagg was very aware that she was there. So it was a very blessed opportunity, and I thoroughly enjoyed playing her part.
Oh, it reminded me of some of our old characters we used to play together. So
yeah, of course, and of course I've worked with a few members of the Outcasts in the past. So yeah, Kenny and I have done some stand up and done some crazy characters over the years and things as well. So you just draw in from your own life experience, other people around you. I think it's a natural thing as humans. We observe people around us. We're people watching all the time, but as actors, you're going a little bit further and you're digging a bit deeper and you're sort of getting into the nub of the characters that you're becoming. And it's a really enjoyable experience, which is why I love doing this.
Oh,
thank you, Solly. Thank you.
Stuff.
So
you were so great.
Well, Jess has one last audience question for, I think, Anne and Grant.
Yeah, so Anne and Grant, actually, I was wondering how, because both of you play a variety of characters. Anne, I think, do you play about 4 different characters? Anne do the narration, and Grant, you play a couple of characters. Yeah. So how did you guys find switching between them and defining each of them so they were different?
Yeah, I played 3 characters. I played the jogger, Sean Beckett. It was really just like a short character. I really enjoyed that, but the character I enjoyed most was Richard, because I put on this Scouse accent. I was a little bit unsure at first where we would come across, but first time I've ever played a character with an accent. When I was rehearsing at home, I was like slipping into Welsh, and I thought, oh no, I'll nip this in the bud pretty quick. But yeah, I liked Richard because he was such a caring character, and it just showed a different side from everyone's on Colin's case all the time, being nasty and bricks being thrown, and it really showed that there were people out there that cared for him as well, in real life, obviously. So to play Richard, I really enjoyed that.
There was something in the research about that neighbour upon whom Richard was based, and again, it's another composite character, but mainly based on one person, that he'd had his own run-ins with the police. I don't know any more than that. And then when Grant, he said to me, would you mind if I played him as a Liverpudlian? And I thought, well, that kind of fits in because they've moved in from somewhere. And Debbie said she always wanted to play a character married to someone from Liverpool, so I wanted to tick that box for her. Grant, when Grant put his own spin on it, I rewrote his dialogue, and that's how we ended up getting the lines in about Hillsborough, which of course was another big police, you know, and you've got a new drama coming out about that soon called Anne, which I'm really looking forward to seeing, about Hillsborough Justice campaigner Anne Williams. That's going to be an absolutely fantastic piece of television. My friend Stephen Walters is in that, playing her husband. And I did the play about the Hillsborough football disaster. So I was a member of the Justice Campaign for a while. And that was all coming to a head around that same time period. So it was that was another massive manipulation by the press. Remember the front page of The Sun? You know, they were saying that the fans pissed on the dead, they pickpocketed the dead, and that was all completely untrue. But turned everybody in the south of England was all like, oh, Liverpool fans, you know, causing trouble. And it just sent this narrative that spread through the population like the flu down here. And I believed that narrative for a really long time, which is why I set it right doing the Hillsborough play. That was the whole reason I did that play, was to make amends with my own guilt for being led in by that narrative. And that was probably the first thing that taught me about how the media got manipulated. So thanks to Grant's choice, we got to mention Hillsborough in the script as well, which was down to him.
You horn that in. Anne, can we hear from you as well, please? Thank you.
Yeah. So the question was about playing the different characters.
Yeah, because you played about 4 different ones, I think, and did the narration as well.
Yeah. I quite like playing a lot of different characters. It's nice to like just slip into the different situations that are happening. I guess luckily, like I'm sure Lance like orchestrated this like obviously on purpose, but you know, none of them were like completely you know, they all like ran nicely, so I didn't have to change really quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Kenny.
It wasn't too long day, babe.
I had about 1 second to change into another character.
Yeah.
I was quite lucky with that. Because Carol also has quite specific makeup looks that I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It's nice to do different things and support everyone else.
You did really well.
And did a lot of stuff behind the scenes to help out as well. She was another one.
I just want to say from this point on, because you've all been working a long time, rehearsals start from 10 a.m. people who is watching this, and we want to keep the audience still here. We've still got a lot of people to come, so I just want to make sure we get a chance to hear everyone. So right now, Lance, I love you. I love all the work that you're doing. We want to hear from them. We want to hear so give them a chance. And let's just do the next bit, because I don't want to lose people. We've got the awards to give out, and I know you all want to stay here for that. You all deserve it anyway. I want to award already to Lance, because you're amazing. You've got the award for that. Does
that come with any money?
Exactly. No, I know. I'm working on it, babe. I need to start playing that lotto. But anyway, we're going to keep going, but let's push on. Kai, who's the next team?
The police.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Another round of applause for you. Incredible.
Yeah. So now we're moving on to the police team. You all know who you are. Get yourselves ready.
And the Plumstead police.
Anyone police. Any law.
DI or superintendent in there.
That's Rez as well.
My team. She was promoted. She left me in the black and white.
Sorry about that. I love teal, darling.
It's a great colour.
Yes. Well done, everyone. Welcome. You guys were amazing. And Kai, because she's taking this, I want to just give her props. You are amazing. Okay?
Thank you.
I'm giving you my own personal. Right. Hi, what questions have you got for your team? You can grill them now.
For my team? Am I going for my team? First of all, my old bosses. Yeah, my old bosses. What work did you do to get into your characters? Because I think yours were very, very complex because of the complexity of the case. So what did you do to bring that to life? Because you were all incredible, really, really believable. I was really scared of you in real life too. So how did that happen? Should we first go for Chris?
I've done a bit of sort of work as, my casting seems to be like emergency services, ex-soldiers, stuff like that. And they're very practical people. They don't get too involved. Any sort of upset or feeling they have tends to be more professionally personal rather than personal, I find. So it's like, get this sorted before I retire. You know, it's that kind of approach, I think. I did a job with some paramedics, and they were talking to a copper, and they were talking about an incident that they attended when they were on. It was somebody under a tube train, and they were chatting, and they were saying, "Well, did this person under the train? Have you asked the most important question about this person? You know, that we're trying to help?" And the paramedics were like, "What do you mean to this police officer?" And the police officer was like, "Well, did she buy a bloody ticket?" And I find the police are quite brutal. They have to have a gallows sense of humor just to get through the day, I find. So I kind of took it from that point. And then you get, and I think there's an element of control with these people as well. There's like, when you don't get it, it's because you haven't solved it. I don't know how much, maybe I'm overly cynical, but I think their own sense of control and ego sort of supersedes their sense of social morality. But maybe I am overly cynical. I don't know. But my approach was kind of that. But Bassett, I think, had he sort of comes into it at the end from the other side. It's like he's on the other side of the mirror, and yeah. I think that remove, that distance, has given him a sense of, do you really think did we do the right thing? Because I think he goes there and then he backs away from there rapidly.
Yeah, exactly that. Amazing.
And do any of you police officers, and I whoever's going to jump in next, to say, do you get any emotional attachment when you're reading this? Did you feel like your character was wrong, or some sort of sense of guilt, like, oh, you know? How did you feel about your character?
I did.
Yeah.
I felt my character had a lot of respect for her bosses, but felt that certain things, myself and DS Holland were questioning certain things that went on during the initial part of the case. And I felt emotional today, actually, reading those lines. I sort of fluffed a little bit, but it was very emotional, because if you think of the reality of a police officer that queried something 15 years previously, didn't quite push it because WPC, and then to find out that extent of mistakes that were made and things that were missed that could have been stopped, and that person could have been stopped. And coming from South London myself, it was quite emotional. It brought up how I felt as a 20-year-old when it actually happened. So yeah, it was very powerful in that respect as an actress.
I was obviously in the same situation as Suzette, because we were both the ones who were doubting really this focus, it's absolute myopic focus on the fact that it was Colin Stagg and they got their man and it was nobody else. And both kept saying, are you sure you've got your man? Come on, the evidence doesn't stack up. There's all these holes. I do think there's something about the era that this was. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things which Lance has touched on in all the research he's done about how the police were working, how interconnected they were with other police in other boroughs, which they weren't, which obviously contributed to this. But also you have to remember that myself and Stollard were female officers in a very male dominated environment. And so although we were quite tough and we did, put our hand up and say, hang on a minute, this doesn't feel right, I think it was culturally a little bit more difficult. But I love the arc that Lance gave to my character, because there was this ability to later on in the story see and really get our man with Napa, to actually come full circle. And I think it was so important for my character to get that confession from Napa that it was quite emotional for me playing that, to see that he'd done it, and also he had his own reasons as well, which were very sad. So it's a very sad, it's tragedy for a lot of the characters in this, not least of all the victims, obviously.
Yeah, I think I kind of felt a bit like Jennifer and Suzette, although DC Long wouldn't have said, oh, I don't know if we've got the right guy. I think secretly there was a big part of him that did feel, as I said, like Suzette and Jennifer, but wasn't brave enough to get up and say, this is what I think, because as has already been said, there's so many big characters, like you've got your Britain, you've got Chris
you've got all these really strong police officers who are telling you that it is this person. So I kind of feel as if my character got carried along with, what was going along. But I definitely felt towards the end that there would be, if Long was there, he would have been one of the ones saying, "We got this wrong." But that's my personal take on it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think DS Williams has any problems believing that Stagg was the one that did it and got away with it. And even if it comes that the truth comes out and everything else, everyone's got their own means of denying any personal responsibility about it. And I think that's the route he'd go for. I mean, I always played it like it was more an ego trip rather than some real giant sort of evil scheme. That's the way I see it. You're supposed to get your man because you're a detective. It's what you do. So your identity's in your job and your success. So the idea you might be wrong isn't just, we messed up that job, didn't we? It's a threat to yourself. If you get it wrong once, you get it wrong again. So you don't entertain that idea at all. You don't get it wrong because you got it wrong. You got it wrong because of, Britain's evidence. Oh yeah, the other evidence. Oh, this, that, the other. And I think I watched a lot of documentaries at the time, and the ones made before Stagg was officially exonerated by the police, but also before Napper was even convicted. There is such a heavy slant towards the implied guilt towards Colin Stagg himself that it's really hard to imagine that there would have been a lot of people, especially working the case, who would have been sort of countering that opinion, because the general sort of atmosphere at the time, especially in the media and in the general way things were, was basically like that.
There's still people out there now that think Colin Stagg did it. They still associate his name with that crime and don't realise he's been exonerated.
Yeah, I think I saw a comment on Facebook saying the same thing.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh yeah, I still think he did it," and it's like, well, watch the show and maybe you'll find out.
Unbelievable.
I've got another question for the group. You had quite a lot of ensemble scenes, so I wanted to know how you handled that over Zoom, the technicalities.
I was just going to say, from the outset, the police group of actors just seemed to have a really good chemistry. So immediately we all gelled really, really well and kind of played off each other. And there was that kind of camaraderie that you would get in an investigation where you're working late nights and just trying to get your man or your woman, and really working hard for the victims, to get justice. And I think we pulled together very quickly. So I think you do start off with a bit of a barrier with Zoom, but I think then it just falls away because you start to work with this medium and you do get lots of reactions from people, and I felt like as a group we worked well together.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
It came across so well. I loved those scenes.
And Raz, you're the king of the backdrop, mate. It's just like,
he's in LA,
You have an address. Honestly, incredible. Where did you set that up every time, and you knew exactly, you planned it all?
Yeah. So for start, I mean, thank you, Lance, for getting me involved and having the opportunity to progress through the ranks rather quickly, and playing various rookie detective, serving with you and Kenny, and to CPS lawyer to detective superintendent. I thought that was fairly stellar rise. But no, I mean, it's been so great to be part of this, and as Lance was saying, the learning of using Zoom and how we can use backgrounds and things. We were talking about it, to enhance it and make it more visually exciting for the viewers. So I just try to put my element of that, and various machines handle backgrounds, as you can see, better than others. It's something that we're coming to terms with, and how you light yourself and everything. And as actors are finding out more and more, we're having to do more and more of our own production of it, because we're all doing auditioning from home, self-taping, that kind of thing. So jumping onto the technology bandwagon has been a huge learning curve for most of us while we've not been working and spending time with this medium, or, you know, even just self-taping and lighting and backgrounds and all sorts. So, yeah.
It's great working with Rez and Kenny as the Plumstead trio.
I think we're the heroes, actually. We knew, didn't we? We had Robert Napper in our site way before anyone else.
There's lots of interviews with them online, Mickey Banks, and I don't know if we found John Pearce. Did we find John Pearce, Kenny?
Yes. Oh, we did, yes, didn't we? Oh. But look, for me, right, playing the Plumstead team, I felt, you're talking about earlier what Lance, you brought up about the policing of the day. Yeah. And if you're looking at these officers, they're from the 70s, 80s, 90s, they're going to retire. Yeah. So they've got methods that are skullduggery. Yeah, they're used to it. And it was nice to play the Plumstead team that not all the police were bad. Yeah. I mean, my character, I think he enjoyed nicking people. He liked it. Do you know what I mean? It was an enjoyment for him. Yeah. But he had a sort of element, I think the Plumstead team we're getting it right, and that's it. And that was nice. And it's unfortunate that these cases have happened in this country where miscarriages have happened, but we've learned from them. And I think, well, we've still got a long way to go to make policing better. But you know, these unfortunate things, I think we all learn from them. And we don't get any more officers like that anymore. But I enjoy playing Pierce. You know, he likes eating his biscuits, and they like going down for a pub and they have about 10 pints. That's in my mind, yeah. You know what I mean?
Kind of guy.
I was really keen, actually, that the police should not be the villains of the piece. I know that they made terrible mistakes, but I didn't want them to be the villains. You know, I'm sure Keith Pedder, at his heart, was not a bad guy, and I'm sure he really believed Colin did it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't justify what they did or the lack of proper investigation elsewhere. They became too telescoped in one direction, and this is not the only case that's happened on before. I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to, but there are other people.
But no, it's interesting. You have such a wealth, Lance, and I think you need to do your own documentary about it, because you've obviously done so much research on it, and this is why we've got such wealth here as well. I just want, before we go, to hear from Vic and James. How was this experience for you? What was your takeaway? You know, how was it being part of the team?
Yeah, James, talk about your moustache and how it disappeared between episodes 1 and 2.
So this was my first foray into the Outcasts. Lance asked me to come in and read, and then brought me on as a lovely police officer with a mustache that, following a trimming incident, brought me too close to being a leader in the Third Reich. So unfortunately, that had to go. It was really, I think, interesting growth for my character, I'd say, because I think, as Kenny said, like the characters themselves are stuck in their ways, and my character is one of the newer, younger junior officers, but kind of has the air of, more so in the sort of 90s and 2000s, of, by virtue of being a white guy, I should be here. I am entitled. I am being drawn into these rooms. And then he makes sarcastic comments. He makes sexist comments. He's quite rude. I think he genuinely thinks that Stagg did it, which influenced him a lot. And then kind of between 1 and 2, where I'm the last person to speak and the first person to speak to Luke, kind of you get to see how nasty this guy is with a lovely close-up of the stash. But then throughout the rest of the performance, he's gradually downgraded. He's not in the initial investigation. He's kind of brought in later when they need help. He helps in the reconnaissance, but he doesn't really get anything else, which I think is a nice demonstration that his attitudes aren't necessarily benefiting him in an employment sense. And kind of working with the ensemble, as Jennifer said, because I've never met anybody here, it was very lovely to come into a room of actors who were so giving. and who all wanted to do the best job possible. And it very much felt like a game of improv, of yes and, where somebody would make a suggestion and it would always be built on. It was always the best scenario to be brought into, because everybody, even though we had a definite ending to the show, we knew what Lance had written. It was an interesting way to kind of, how can we change the scene? What more interesting things can we go through here? And then kind of everybody playing throughout, and the hierarchy changing was such a nice way. Yeah.
So strong. And Vic.
Yeah. Hi folks. Yeah, it's been interesting, really. You know, it was my first foray also into the Outcasts, you know, and such a privilege too. And I first heard about it because Lance was talking to my agent, Elaine Eaglestone Management. That's how I got involved in it, basically, you know, and just playing the other characters too. Even though it's small parts, you know, it's just wonderful to work with the cast, basically. And whether the superintendent is fictional or not, you know, and it's just, you know, it doesn't matter how small a part is, really, you know, it's just when you get that part, it's just throwing yourself into it and making it as real as possible, you know, and it sort of thrills me, like, you know, and it's just to be part of that sort of scene, like, and you know, it takes me back to, I remember this case back in the 90s, you know, I was living in Bermondsey at the time. And I thought Stagg was guilty too, you know, the way that he was portrayed in the press. It's such a shame, really, you know. And but it's just been wonderful just to be part of this, basically, and just to see it all come together, and the level of professionalism, you know, with the whole cast, you know, and the total enthusiasm, you know, and Lance's enthusiasm. He's writing. I don't know how he does it, you know. I mean, I'd love to write, but you know, it's incredible, is it? Some people are just so talented, you know. So it's really nice. Thank you.
Only one, Lance. Yeah. Vic, you're amazing. Jess, I wanted to ask you a question, please, because I think you did an epic job with those letters. Thank you. Yes, and I would, yeah, exactly. I'm giving you a round of applause too. I just want to know, how did you find all of that? What was your experience, and what was your technique of dealing with it?
She is such a fun character to play because just so manipulative, and kind of some of the things she was saying is like so outrageous, and you're kind of thinking, oh shit, my parents are going to be watching this. But you just have to kind of block that out, and you know why you're doing it. And the Lance gave me the direction, you know, the more uncomfortable you make Colin feel, you know, the better job you're doing, kind of thing. So I just had a lot of fun with it, to be honest with you. She's quite different to me, and so that's always fun to play someone totally different. So yeah, does that answer your question?
It does. You were amazing.
All of her dialogue in terms of the letters and the exchanges was quoted verbatim from transcripts. I had a copy of Keith Pedder's book as well, because he wrote a book, as you know, because that's mentioned. And and I knew someone on the inquiry team. I'm not going to say who it was. That's how I got a big insight into what was going on with people leaking stuff to the press and who was doing that. But yeah, all of Jess's letters that she had, that's all real. That's all the real stuff, heavily edited down, of course, because all the transcripts were much longer. But we had an interesting time sort of when we were rehearsing that, didn't we, Jess?
Well, you did an amazing
and how to say it. And
yeah, Lance was really good at sharing like bits of the book that, you know, pointing me in the right direction of kind of things that Colin had said about their actual like meeting up and things like that. And it was also fun to play kind of different sides to her character. So when she's with the police, she's quite like dead serious and formal, and then the kind of flirty, dirty stuff with Colin. So yeah, that was good to show different sides of a character.
Yeah,
and a lot of
great
pressure.
job with the performance.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on the shoulders when you're playing real characters for you all. a lot of pressure to take on. And Kai, with the amazing cake and props and everything, the dedication.
Oh, I just had a little bit. Everybody else.
Oh, hello! What an amazing cake.
More amazing than me. Honestly, I was in awe. I was really privileged to be in such great company. Yeah, thank you very much, Lance, for having me on.
Oh, not at all. Pleasure all mine.
Yeah. So I guess now is the time to bring on the last group of people, right? Because we're really running out of time.
Yeah.
Everybody else
be Magda, but
and let's get through this. I think that's the job.
Thank you, guys.
Any
so the supporting cast who had small roles, anyone? Yeah, here we go. We've got Bella. Kenny's back as the lawyer, speaking into everyone. Sarah, Fiona, loads of people. Sorry, I'm doing your job again. I'm gonna be quiet.
No, you're grand.
We've already accepted it. It's fine. We're sharing it. You're our fourth lion. It's all good. We love it.
I thought, what's the honorary fourth lion? Huh?
Yeah, you are.
D'Artagnan.
Yeah, exactly.
We're both Leos, aren't we, Lance? Our birthdays are like a day apart.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I just want to give a shout out to the supporting cast, actually, from me, because these are the people that did the very small parts. And
there's no such thing.
No small parts.
Well,
I know, but they did the roles where maybe there's not as much meat. Although Grayson Matthews has a fantastic role with Alex Douglas Jones. That's a composite character. I need to give these lawyers a shout out of Alex Trebrix, and I can't remember the second one, but it's the two names split in half and wedged together. And those lawyers did a fantastic job on Colin's behalf. And somebody asked if any of the real people had seen the, knew about the piece or whatever. I sent the scripts to Colin's lawyers back in 2008 because they were the first people I asked for their blessing to do it, actually. And the quote was from them, "We've had a lot of projects sent to us. This one is the best."
Wow.
And so then that's when I started writing it. I mean, I started pushing it. And then we sent them the links. Jim Sturman, QC, who represented Colin, who was played by Andrew Coppin, who's not here today. We need to give him a shout out. He did a brilliant job of playing Jim Sturman. We've sent it to Jim Sturman. We sent the links, and he actually came back and gave me a couple of pointers on how to address the judge, which I had written incorrectly apparently. So yeah, there you go.
Well done, well done, well done. And there's no such thing as a small role. I would say all of these actors here, all of you were really poignant to me, and I remember all of you. So I just think that I just want to say so much respect for everything that you've done. And I would also want to point out right here as well, Lance, you did a bloody great job too. You did a great job acting. You got me. And
I got thrown under the bus playing Robert Napper. That all happened at 4 o'clock yesterday.
You did great at that, Lance. You really did. And Bella and Dave, was you going to say something, babes? Go on.
No, I was just going to say we even had a comment on Facebook about that.
Really? About Napper's performance?
No, about you being fantastic in front of
you really were, Lance.
I wasn't even supposed to play that part.
I know. Bella and David, you guys were in that scene, and I thought I really believed it was happening. How was it for you being part of it?
I go first?
Yes. Go on, ladies first.
Okay. Well, it was an amazing experience, and like everybody else, it was obviously difficult getting used to Zoom, and I had the pleasure of meeting probably almost half of the cast in person before lockdown and before we started the read-throughs via Zoom. And so that's nice. It was a whole different experience to start rehearsing and to meet people via Zoom and just to connect in that way. But it really worked, and it was just such a lovely group to work with. And
everybody was so committed, and it was it was a fantastic experience, and all the characters that were in the script and the way Lance had written everything, it was really fantastic to be a part of it. And also I really enjoyed playing different parts, like some other people, even though they were smaller, but it was great, you know, to be kind of a reporter trying to get a story to someone being in the first scene when it actually happened, to being Terry in the end, to be the woman that, you know, finally makes Colin happy and treats him right, was really nice. And obviously Luke was very convincing as Colin, and is generally very easy to work with. So yeah, it was great. It was a fantastic experience, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I hope that the audience as well enjoyed it as much as we did.
Did indeed. I want to go to Annette, only because Annette was one of our festivals, and I've seen you play so many different characters, but so well, really convincingly, and I absolutely loved your ashtray scene. Killed me every time. It was the best. How do you approach your character acting? How does that work?
Julie Pines, I did a little bit of research on. I know she's a real person, but I couldn't find much about her, so I just sort of like, I think, dug deep a little bit, you know, find the trashiness in me. And I also got inspiration from like Edna, like Ab Fab, Pat and Eddie, and I sort of like, right, okay, I've got to make this my own. So I was just put on an accent, and then I just became her. It was really, really odd. And then I put the hair and the earrings in, and it was just like, you know, I had a little chat with Chris, who was the costume designer as well, and he just said, look, put something with a bit of cleavage on. And I'm like, So I put it on, and I was like, yeah, you're right. And then the earrings and the hair up and the flag, and that was it. I was off. I was just like, wow. And the first time I did it, Lance went, you nailed it. And I was like,
nailed it. Agreed.
You also put an ad in the local Lonely Hearts as well for research.
Yes,
yeah, that was it.
Amazing.
And yeah, it was really good. And it was just like so far from anything I've kind of done before. So it was really great to just sort of like sink my teeth in it.
Yeah.
And, you know, Kirsty obviously was a bit more like me. So it was a bit, you know, put this in a way, I didn't really have to act. But what I found a little bit difficult this time was, most people probably know, I'm actually in Norway. So on one of the rehearsals, I was actually up in the air. So it's been a little bit weird because I had to go in quarantine as well. So it's been technically challenging in some parts because I had to stay in like an apartment hotel thing. And I was just like, I gotta make this work, gotta make this work.
And you did.
I did. You know, my mum's out there and she's like, when you finish. She goes to the window and she waves at me, you know, and I'm like, don't talk to me.
You did awesome. Thank you so much.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you, Lance, for casting me. And you know what I want to say? You say I had a small part. I was in one episode I wasn't in. All the other episodes I was in. I felt I had loads of lines and I had a big part.
Yeah.
This isn't small parts really.
Yeah.
I said supporting cast.
Supporting, yes. No, I didn't. I felt like it was.
These were characters that didn't fit into another category. Would probably be a more accurate.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we're running out of time and people are leaving, and I don't want them to miss out on who the actual award winners are.
Well, I think we should hear from David, Ian, and Matthew, Grace, and Matthew.
Absolutely, I'm just saying, let's keep it going, guys. Come on, we can do it.
I was just about to ask Grayson a question. The man that led Stag to freedom. Woohoo!
Yeah.
We like
hero.
We like you.
What's that? Well,
you deserve a single screen for that, Matt. Go take it.
Yeah. Did you find out much about the real character, or did you just go with your heart? Work with your heart?
No, because at first when I spoke to Lance, he mentioned that obviously it was Alex Douglas Jones actually is more fictional, but as he said, there was Alex Trewick, I think he said, was the lawyer. But I kind of just spoke with Lance and went with how Lance felt things were going. He told me to go away and maybe go and watch some maybe lawyer programs or solicitor programs. He gave me a list. Granted, I didn't actually look at any of those. I was just watching Suits which is an American version, which is completely opposite to what a British solicitor is going to be like. But it's funny because in episode 3, I remember reading the script and he goes, the dashing Alex Douglas Jones went, oh, there you go, then let's put on a nice suit and off we go. No, had fun with it. I just wanted to shout out quickly to Luke, because Lance noticed every time we did the scene where we were trying to get the DNA test and afterwards where he has the breakdown. That's my favorite scene in the whole thing, because it showed a bit more of a human side to Alex Douglas Jones. He's gone from being professional really to, you know, gelling with Luke. So he's just as frustrated, but you could tell there's a little bit of doubt. He needed him to actually realize that he was not going to let him go down, and he was going to make sure that he was innocent.
Great stuff. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Yeah, most likable character, I think, definitely. Fiona, kind of supporting Grace in there, because you found the evidence. Well done, you. I love your backdrop, by the way. Amazing. How was it for you as well? And I know that you had to take some direction in really bringing that alive. Like, oh my God, I found the evidence. How was that setting Stag free?
It was great, actually. Very difficult and different using Zoom. Never used it before. But luckily, I have a green living room, which is great. So it means my backdrop comes across quite well. Otherwise, I'd have had a bit of a nightmare. So that was good. And I was also in parts 1 and 2 as different people. But in episode 5, it was nice being the lab tech that thankfully found out the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Amazing. Jess, do we have any more, there you are, audience questions?
Yes, so we haven't heard from Sarah and Dan, and I wanted to know about you two, your real life mother and son, right? So how was it working together and working in the same household?
It was all right.
So it was extremely
That's a very thankful answer, Dan.
It was challenging because we realised that what we didn't know when we did episode 1 and 2 was that because we were only using one mic for obvious reasons, that then meant that Zoom didn't bring up Dan's face. Yeah, which was a real shame in the earlier scenes, and there was nothing I could do about it. I felt really bad, but there was nothing. So you saw my face on screen instead of Dan's, which was a shame. But there was just nothing.
Yeah, we always prefer Dan's, obviously.
I know, exactly.
One of those beautiful technical hitches that.
Thanks, Lance, you're a legend.
But in terms of
mate, thanks for that 20 quid. Cheers.
But in terms of in terms of working together, it was nice to have that role. And you know, with her character, I've been doing a lot of lessons with Teresa, actually. And so, I sort of created my own backstory for sort of Jane, you know, because she's obviously very, very sure that that's who she saw, and she didn't see him. You know, that is the end of the story. She didn't see him.
She's the witness that had a police officer for a husband, quite a high-ranking one as well.
Yeah.
We're going to leave that there.
Yeah, let's leave it there. But in terms of, you know, Dan playing the teenager, I think that was quite comical in the house, because obviously he wasn't very quiet, Lance. As soon as you told him not to be quiet, he was very loud.
Have to be loud.
I'm such a good dad to Sarah's children. I say.
Dan, what was you saying?
He's shouting abuse at someone. He's not going to be quiet.
No, he's committed to your character.
Yeah,
I like it. Very good.
But even though I was in episode 1 and 2 and a little bit of 3. So, but I did actually come to all of them. So I couldn't escape. So, you know, once you're part of it, I only had a small role with a few lines, but definitely thoroughly enjoyed being part of the team. And Lance has done an absolutely amazing job, and everybody has worked so hard.
Yes, brilliant. And David and Melissa are the last two who we haven't heard from, and then I think it's a home run.
Yeah.
Well, I think Lance has done a great job of actually casting this as well and getting so many talented people together and putting them all in the right roles as well. So I think he deserves a round of applause for that.
Thank you. Normally my casting director, Sharon Sorrentino, who's just had a kid, would have been involved. But I'm sure she would have, been very pleased with the choices. She's been so busy with being a mother, as others on this call will tell you, is a very demanding experience. She hasn't even been able to watch any of them yet. I think she watched episode 1. That was it. To pass on compliments. But, Sharon Sorrentino casts my stuff normally, but me and Dickon, we kind of cast this between us. Lots of
did a great job.
Dickon, do you think so and so should play such and such a part? And Dickon come back to, I don't know, how many classes have they attended? We worked it out between us.
He's my favourite. He gave me an apple in class. Before we go, we're going to do the announcement of the award, and we're really cutting it to the wire now. David, I've been trying to get you on. Come on, I'm not forgetting you, babes. No man is forgotten under my watch.
Well, I mean, it was really good. For me, I played a number of roles over 3 episodes. I think I did 8 different roles.
I think you did the most then.
Yeah, it gave me a really good opportunity to see the story from lots of different perspectives, which I really appreciated that. And I really enjoyed that, because obviously the writing is really good, as we've all said. So it was really good from that point of view. And I got to work with loads of different people that under normal circumstances, you'd work with far fewer members of the cast. So it was great from that point of view.
Absolutely. Thank you, David.
I loved your Moss, David. You was absolutely brilliant as Moss. Brilliant.
Incredible. Everybody come back on. Everybody open up your cameras and let's come back together as a family. You are all incredible. Whoever
it has been like a family, actually, in many ways.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. This is bittersweet, I'm sure, but here's for the sweetest part. Can we have the announcements of the winners of the awards, please?
So traditionally, I think what would have happened at this point is an actor who was due to be in episode 5, Tony Fadil. I'm just going to give a shout out to Tony. Tony was in Borderlands, which Dickon and I directed together. It was a real joy. I love working with Dickon. Can I just say that? Just love working with Dickon. So glad that we started the Outcasts together. And whenever I feel down, I give him a call. I just say the word helicopter and we both laugh. Yeah, we decided to do this. Well, we wanted to do something for Graham, really. And we didn't tell anybody working on Borderlands we were going to give out this award. No one knew it was coming. I mentioned it to the cast at the very beginning of rehearsals, and then I never mentioned it again. So I bet everybody forgot about it, didn't you? You all forgot about it. So we got 2. We got we're going to do a Star Performer Award every year and a Graham Fletcher Cook Award. And Toby Cockrell's coming on, who's another of our regulars. He's joining us now from Hawaii, by the way. So we're going to do the Star Performer Award first. Now, this actor has been on a number of our Zoom reads, and there was a script of mine that I had written specifically for Judi Dench, actually. The wonderful Judi Dench, who's an actress I've met many times, drank champagne in her dressing room, lots of fun. And one time I was on medication and I went up to meet her after a play, and she has an assistant with a tray of champagne, and she said to me, "You will have a glass of champagne, won't you, Lance?" And I said, I can't because I'm on some antibiotics at the moment. "Don't talk bollocks, Lance. You will have champagne." So that's Judi Dench. So I wrote a script for her called The Kiss That Would Last a Lifetime, and it was one of the ones that we read during our table read during lockdown. And there was an actress that I'd been working with who I thought, she's got to play this role. And I said, can you kind of play her as close to Judy as you can? Because that's the way the part's written. And she absolutely, completely nailed it. It was such a joy to hear it read. And that was Teresa Cole. So our star performer of the year for the Outcasts goes to Teresa Cole, particularly for the lifetime.
Yes,
did a brilliant job of starting those. And
it wasn't just that; it's also the way she's contributed behind the scenes and been tireless.
A bit of that as well, yeah. You know, but well, a lot of that. Thank you, Dickon. Yeah. So star performer. What that means is that when I can afford it, and Dickon has come around and actually given me some money as well, we will get you some really interesting trophy that you can stick on your cabinet wall. We haven't been able to get the trophies this year because of lockdown and lack of money, and none of us getting paid for anything. But those are forthcoming. So that's Teresa Cole. So Teresa, well done. Thank you so much for all your work this year.
Well done, Teresa.
Well done, Teresa.
And there's a lot of people. That we could have given that award to. So many people, so many great performances with the Outcasts this year. I need to mention Michael, Kenny,
Michael's been brilliant.
Debbie, Suzette. Now, if I stop mentioning people, I'm going to forget some people, aren't I? I'm going to get in trouble. Oriana, Jake. There were so many people. There was, but Dickon and I shortlisted that to like 3 people very quickly. And it was like I thought we were going to have a really long debate about it. It was like 2 minutes, so it was pretty quick.
I just want to say something about the Timber Theatre was always set up to be an organic process. The devising process was always a collective experience. Everyone had to contribute of themselves, of their acting abilities, their talents, of their time, of their energy. And the Graham Fletcher Cook Award it is a nod to being a team player. It's not just about your acting talents. It's about how you go about being part of a team and conveying the spirit that really we're carrying a torch, and all we do is pass on this torch to the next generation or to the people who are running onto stage. And so the winner of the Graham Fletcher Cook Award has really epitomized the spirit which we associate with the Graham Fletcher Cook experience.
Do you want to say who won that, Dickon?
You go ahead, Lance.
You sure? No, I'm going to pass that torch to you. I did the star performer, so I think you should do this one.
Even on this Colin Stagg project, I love how this lady managed to perform different people in such different ways. I almost didn't recognize her as one of the characters she played. I had to check the cast list to make sure it was her. But yeah, a total professional in every way, shape and form. A really good actress, brilliant actress, talented beyond her eyeballs, and such a great heart, such a great energy. And all we've got is positive love and praise for her. And he's on!
Well done, Anne.
Woo, 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 woo.
Well done, Anne.
Hayward, I don't know.
And just to let you know, you won't be paying for your Outcasts hoodie, but thank you for the £20 donation towards our Zoom calls. Yeah, I'm not going to add anything that Dickon said it better than I could, frankly. So yeah, really positive energy, and Graham was a positive energy in all of our lives, and to me, that constant source of positive energy is what it's all about. And Anne's been fantastic at supporting both me and Dickon behind the scenes, doing numerous things, but also numerous performances as well. So,
she's been brilliant.
So the ladies have stole the mantles this year. So men, don't let us down. In 2021, we expect to see one of you nab the trophy and pass it on. And well done, Anne and Teresa. And thank you, Outcasts, for all the work you put in on this. I'm really quite moved now, actually.
I just want to say thank you, guys. You know, it's been such an awesome project, and I'm just really moved, really, because most of us, well, we've known each other at Anna Shares. Dickon, you've got a big part. You're always asked to, you know, Anna trusts you with her classes, and then Graham did as well. And it's like there's a lot of history. I came in 2006 to Anna Share and the history of all of you, but there's a lot of history with us all where we
Yeah, I was at Anna's in 2002, so we're all connected to that.
And Graham's as well. So it's just it's so awesome to be part of their classes and that history and all the creations we've made. And Dickon, I always remember Dickon. I got a really low mark once, and he said I would have given it 5. He was so supportive. But Lance, you've been you're unstoppable. I don't know how you do it. I'm sure we should. We should really applaud Dickon and Lance really one more time. I don't know if the Lions want to lead that.
Can you send me a free crate of this?
Well done, everybody.
Spend a lot of money on this.
You're amazing.
Great. Can I say we are going to have to leave because you guys have been doing this for a long time, lots and lots of weeks, and I'm sure people want to go now. I want to just say before anything, I'm going to say to my 2 lions, you guys are incredible, always on fire. They also put in a lot behind the scenes, and I just want to say well done for putting it in and outside of the thing. So respect to my sisters. Obviously,
to you and
honestly.
And hello to Toby in Hawaii who's watching, and if you look, he's got the ocean behind him.
Oh, hello. My backdrop is real. My backdrop is real.
Backdrop is real. It's not fake.
Toby.
Get your heart out, mean. It's actually in Hawaii.
Well done, everyone. Amazing.
Toby, formerly in charge of the Outcasts accounting, now living in Hawaii. Not really. And Toby is running our next table read, which is tomorrow night. It's a Shakespeare.
Yes.
Henry V or King Kenny.
No pressure. Nice and easy.
Good to see you, Toby. I've been trying to track it down.
Yeah, I'm on opposite time though.
Hosting the live Q&A. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you to Colin Stagg of all people.
Yeah.
I hope he thinks we did his story justice. I've only spoken to his lawyer, not him personally. I dare say if he doesn't think so, I might be speaking to his lawyer again. Dickens' idea. Thank you so much, everybody. And I think we're going to end our live there.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Namaste.